a lot of comments from our colleagues, and they have tended all of a sudden to pretend as though they are the people who love the people of Ghana, when Ghanaians were very clear that they were enemies of Ghana and didn't want them near the Flagstaff House anymore. The bottom line of all that has happened is that some amounts were owed to cocoa farmers, and the government took a decision to repay those monies so that the cocoa buying companies can settle those outstanding obligations. I'm happy to report to you that this morning, the government has released 855 million for the purposes of paying those outstanding obligations. But permit me to say, ladies and gentlemen, that we have decided to introduce a number of reforms. But those reforms that we are introducing are reforms that are long overdue. The cocoa sector has been under enormous strain over the years, and we have pretended to be servicing cocoa farmers, when in fact what we have done is to destroy the vehicle that we are using to support the cocoa farmers. When COCOBOD had 286,000 bales of jute sacks sitting at the port, they only went and cleared 91,000 of them and left the rest at the port. Meanwhile, they also had 75,000 bales of jute sacks. So add that to what is in the port. They had enough to last them another 3-4 years. But just a few days before they left office, they went and contracted and paid 48 million to bring in 80,000 bales of jute sacks. These are reckless people. If it was possible in the days that we were shipping people, these are people that we have to line up and tell cocoa farmers, it is the conduct of these people that denied the government of Ghana the resources to properly take care of you at this point in time. So that we'll give everybody a cane. Cocoa farmers will ship you in tow. Then we will know who is at fault. But these are the type of people, because they can sing and dance more than everybody. Sometimes they tend to think that when they tell the same lie many times, it becomes the truth. If Ghanaians were not vigilant, I'm sure one day they would have told us that Psalm 23 has 118 verses. And that when you get to you get to 118, you don't proceed to 120. You rather come back to 20. Or is it 22? Yeah. But you people are very vigilant. You won't go and quote the Quran. You go and enter spaces anyway.
Oh, that's the Honorable Isaac Adongo there. And this week, in fact, just 2 days ago, the majority in Parliament addressed that press conference that you just saw there, detailing the reforms, and then also the announcement of almost $1 billion Ghana cedis that government has paid to the LBCs, for the LBCs to pay to the farmers. Now, what we'll do this morning is to confirm exactly how much has been paid to the LBCs and when they are also going to start paying farmers. That is, if they have started paying farmers, how much? And when exactly is the total debt also going to be fulfilled? Now, it's a very important conversation because cocoa farmers as well, a section of them we have seen this week do their own picketing and then the demonstration, the demand for the monies to be paid them. How much of the past has contributed to the present? And how much of the reforms proposed presently can reform this sector going forward? And that's the conversation that we'll have this morning here on Key Point. Also this morning, unfortunately, still on the matters of commodities, this time around for food items, tomatoes. we import millions of Ghana cedis worth of tomatoes from Burkina Faso. And on this dangerous journey, because of what is happening in the outskirts of Burkina Faso, we've seen the unfortunate incident that led to the death of 8 Ghanaian traders, tomato traders. That has sparked a conversation on exactly what response government must give to what has happened, plus also investing here to ensure that we are able to produce enough tomatoes to feed ourselves, especially after the signing of the 24-hour economy bill by the president this week. There's one component in there called Grow 24, which focuses on agriculture. What's the plan to improve on tomatoes production so that women or tomato traders in this country will not have a reason to go on that dangerous path of importing tomatoes from Burkina Faso? That's a big issue that we will get into this morning here on The Key Point. This week, the Chief Justice, Paul Bafoboni, gave a verdict on some 7 petitions to the presidency against the Electoral Commission chair and her 2 deputies, and some 3 petitions against the special prosecutor for their removal. Well, he says that yes, there was some concern, administrative issues raised in there, but it did not reach the threshold of establishing a prima facie case against these individuals. And as a result, these petitions have failed. One person who petitioned the presidency for the removal of the special prosecutor will be joining us. Well, he says that his petition is not part of that which has been determined, but we'll be finding out exactly what pointers this gives. There's some views that have been expressed about this morning. My guest will join me. We'll have a conversation. We'll be back after this quick break with the poll tracker. We'll lay the foundation of this conversation, especially on the matters of cocoa, with statistics, publicly verifiable statistics that you can also see with the source that will give you and follow us every step of the way. My name is Alfred Okanse. Welcome. This is Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. We're on the Voice of London radio in the heart of the City of London and Voice of London television as well. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. Thank you.
We go one-on-one with the movers and shakers, the thought leaders, and the game changers. We ask the questions that matter, and we don't back down.
Tonight on Hot Issues, I sit with the man at the center of corruption investigations.
Join me on Hot Issues here on TV3.
Hot Issues now shows on Sundays at 1 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
When COCOBOD had 286,000 bales of jute sacks sitting at the port, they only went and cleared 91,000 of them and left the rest at the port. Meanwhile, they also had 75,000 bales of jute sacks. So add that to what is in the port. They had enough to last them another 3-4 years. But just a few days before they left office, they went and contracted and paid 48 million to bring in 80,000 bales of jute sacks. These are reckless people. If it was possible in the days that we were shipping people, these are people that will have to line up and tell cocoa farmers, it is the conduct of these people that denied the government of Ghana the resources to properly take care of you at this point in time. So that we'll give everybody a cane. Cocoa farmers will ship you in tow. Then we will know who is at fault. But these are the type of people, because they can sing and dance more than everybody. Sometimes they tend to think that when they tell the same lie many times, it becomes the truth. If Ghanaians were not vigilant, I'm sure one day they would have told us that Psalm 23 has 118 verses. And that when you get to some, you get to 118, you don't proceed to 120. You rather come back to 20. Or is it 20, 22? Yeah. But you people are very vigilant. You won't go and quote the Quran. You go and enter space anyway.
Just the Honorable Isaac Adongo, welcome back from that quick break. Here on The Key Point. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279. This is the poll tracker. Here, we rely on publicly verifiable data on matters of the economy, issues of security, agriculture, anything that's of concern to you. We would fish out the data publicly verifiable that you can also follow every step of the way. For the last almost 1 month now, the conversation about the cocoa sector has been rife and at the front burner for good reason, because of not only what's happening with the non-payment of cocoa farmers, but also the broad reforms that have been proposed by government to turn around the fortunes of the cocoa sector. Much of what the farmers are complaining about is the cocoa beans that they have sold, that they have not been paid. The estimated value of this 50,000 metric tons of cocoa beans that COCOBOD has essentially bought and not paid the farmers is 2.83 billion Ghana cedis. This week, you heard Isaac Adongo make some announcement of some payments that have been made. A total of 1.1 billion is what has been paid to the license buying companies. These license buying companies are the intermediary between COCOBOD and the cocoa farmer. So they have been paid this money that you heard Isaac Adongo talk about, the 805 billion CDs, million Ghana CDs, plus some 200, over 235 million Ghana CDs as well. The total of which we have the 1.1 billion. There's some 1.73 billion that's remaining. We would have to find out exactly when these farmers are going to be paid. This week, we saw a number of things happen with regards to this. One, COCOBOD announcing the cut in their salaries, 10%, 20%. That's upper management and then also the senior staff. And then the board of COCOBOD as well decided that they were going to forfeit what is due them for the period of this crop season, what is left. We saw cocoa farmers as well hit the streets demonstrating. Yesterday, they picketed at the COCOBOD premises as well. So all of this put together, before the day would end yesterday, the Catholic Bishops' Conference had also waded in, raising some fundamental concerns about the impact, how this non-payment of these cocoa farmers could impact on their work, plus also the decision by government to reduce the prices of the cocoa as a result of what's happening on the world market, to the realistic reflection of the situation, according to the Catholic Bishop Conference, could push some farmers to, as it were, sell their land to cocoa farmers. That's to galamsey operators, beg your pardon. We'll be finding out whether that's a real concern, a real fear that government should be considering. But this is what is happening on the world market. Last week, when we showed you the trends, cocoa was selling at $3,687 a ton. Today, as we check, it's still not looking good. It's going down. $3,182 per ton. That's what's happening. When we tracked analysis here, the research team here at TV3, Wisdom Safo and the team, we've seen a 70% reduction in the price of cocoa on the world market since May 2025. It's been tumbling. Look at that. All the way to this point, 70%. Okay? So there are those who point to, the trading losses. This is essentially a trade loss, and the forecasting wasn't done well and so on. We'll be finding out, especially because a chunk of our economy is reliant on commodities. Gold is what is holding us now. $10 billion is what we sold exported last year. So even though cocoa is not doing well, and in fact, crude oil as well, we've seen price of crude oil go down on the world market. We are not feeling the impact of these prices of these commodities going down because gold is holding the economy right now. But with the reality that cocoa is showing us right now, what should be the thinking going forward? That's a big matter that we'll be getting into, because this picture is troubling, to say the least. And when in between 2023, 24, and 25, when cocoa prices were at the all-time high, it went as high as $11,000 a ton, Ghana couldn't cash in. The cocoa farmer couldn't cash in during that period. And we'll tell you why, and why others believe that Ghana missed that opportunity. What could have been done differently, and what should be done differently going forward? It's a big issue that we'll get into. But if you look at the bigger picture of what's happening on the world market now, 65% of what the combined strength of Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire in terms of our cocoa production really is. That is what we control on the global market, 65%. But when it comes to the fortunes of the cocoa farmer in these two countries, practically one of concern, and that has been a major issue. This is what is happening right now. This drop in price here in Ghana as a result of what government says is to reflect the realities on the world market. 28.6%, you can call it a haircut, right? that the farmers have had to take because of what is happening on the world market. But if you look at what's happening, well, this is the first time we've seen this, at least in the not too distant past, that cocoa prices, that is a bag of cocoa, has had to be reduced in price here in Ghana. And that's why it's not a very common experience for the cocoa farmer. So they're having to react this way. But if you look at what's happening in Côte d'Ivoire as well, this is it. Over time, they have seen, as we saw here in Ghana, consistent increases in the bag of cocoa that they are selling. And this you're seeing is in CFA franc. What is happening in Côte d'Ivoire now is that there has also been a decision now to reduce the prices per bag, but not as much as Ghana. The difference between Côte d'Ivoire price per bag and Ghana price per bag is 954 Ghana cedis. Now, what this is happening, in fact, is that in the coming days, Côte d'Ivoire is also mulling the idea of going the way of Ghana to reduce the prices of cocoa so that their cocoa farmers would have their beans sold. Because as the Reuters News Agency and other international media reported, a number of the cocoa farmers in Côte d'Ivoire are having to store their cocoa beans in their homes. They are not getting buyers as well. That was the reality facing Ghana. Reason why government thought that reducing the prices was going to be one of the surest ways of attracting the farmers, because that is the buyers, because now there are options. They can go anywhere. So if Côte d'Ivoire is going on this path that Ghana has gone on, does that justify government's decision to reduce the prices as we saw in this instance sometime last week? It's a conversation that we will have. This particular one that we're seeing the realities of Ghana, the cocoa farmer now. But how can the cocoa farmer also be cushioned because of this reduction that we have seen in price? Those are the issues that we're going to be getting into. And how much of the past has influenced the present as we are seeing now. And this reforms of some 50% of all cocoa beans that's going to be processed locally, effective this cocoa season. We'll have a conversation on all these this morning. Joining me is Richard Anyagba. He is the Director of Communications of the New Patriotic Party. Anyagba, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Also joining us this morning is the Honorable Atta Issa. He is an economist and financial analyst by training. He's a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament, and then also the Member of Parliament for the Sagnarugu constituency. Yeah. Honorable Atta Issa, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Also joining us shortly is Martin Pebu. He is private legal practitioner and the convener of the Komi-Prekorilo, the demonstration, is going to be joining us in a bit. Also, the Honorable Andy Apiakubi is the former Member of Parliament for the Asante-Achim North constituency, and also a private legal practitioner. This will be joining us in a bit. Professor Ransford Jampo is a professor of political science at the University of Ghana, Legon, and then also the CEO of the Ghana Shippers Authority. He will be joining us for a conversation this morning. And then also we'll hear from the president of the license buying companies, the LBCs. They are the ones who have received the money, the over 1 billion that the government of Ghana has announced that they are paid for the cocoa farmers to be paid. We'll be finding out how much of that has hit their account and how much of that has been paid to the cocoa farmer as well. So all of that details put together. Stay with us. But Mr. Agba, now let me start off with you on this particular issue, because you heard the Honorable Isaac Adongo point to decisions that you took. If I say you, I'm talking about the NPP government while you were in office, which has, in his view, contributed to what we are experiencing presently. How much of the past has impacted on the present situation so that the cocoa farmer, in raising concerns, cannot exclude the decisions that you took while you were in office?
Alfred, good morning to you and to your viewers and your crew here. Let me say a very good morning to Ghana's Baumia and go on to say that if he were president today, cocoa farmers will not be experiencing what we're experiencing now, which has led to a series of demonstrations across the country. Yesterday, I think I saw cocoa farmers were picketing at the COCOBOD offices. If Baumia were in office, if MPP were in office today, that would not be the reality of cocoa farmers. But to your question, it is a total distraction, okay, from the matter to suggest that the past has a bearing on the conversation we're having now. It's disingenuous, totally unacceptable diversion of the matter. And the simple answer to the Honorable Adongo is that they've been in office for some 14 months now. If they saw some impropriety committed that has caused the COCOBOD some debt, they had every mechanism to address it. And so short of any such thing, they cannot be coming here to say that there's something done wrong that has brought us here. But more specifically, Alfred, the matter in question. Okay, so let's focus on that. We haven't seen anything, so let that one go along. And if anybody is found to have misconducted themselves, yes, let the chips fall where they may. But for now, that's not the reality. The reality, Alfred, is that we're dealing with a pricing regime or a season price, right? Where COCOBOD is gone out there to give guarantee to farmers that because I'm the only one who can buy your produce, this is the price I'm going to buy it at. And farmers, like it or not, took it. Contrary to the promises they made in opposition, we're going to pay you 6,500, MPP is cheating you and all of that. And so when they came, all they could do was increase it by some 500 and more, little. And so farmers, though they didn't like it, they wanted a 6,000, they promised if it was feasible, they said they could do it. They came in, farmers took that promise, okay. Of course, initially about 3,228 or something, and they further increased it to 2,625. And farmers were working with that. They contracted their labors on that basis. They did their projection on that basis. And so it is baked in for them that if they had one bag, the price they were going to get was 3,625. But somehow, the COCOBOD and the government had an emergency meeting only to arrive at a reduction of the price. That has nothing to do with history. It has nothing to do with anything that happened at COCOBOD. It had everything to do with the year in review. It's a pricing decision, which we maintain is brought about by a trading decisions that has gone wrong.
So all of this is about trading?
It has nothing to do with yesterday. It has everything to do with the season that we're in and the decisions that we're taking to sell the cocoa they had. COCOBOD decisions backfired. So really, instead of, distract everybody from the fact and focus on the issue to help farmers, what the government should have done at that emergency meeting was to decide to come out either by the finance minister or the COCOBOD CEO to come and apologize that we took a gamble to sell at spot price and we're waiting the price. And for some reason, we didn't strike on time and we missed it. So that decision we took is accountable for where we are and apologize. If they had done that, there would be no basis to have this conversation because really they would have spoken to the farmers and said, look, we have got it wrong. And because we have got it wrong, we have a difficulty. How do we fix it? And I think that farmers were reasonable enough at that to say that, okay, well, if you give us a haircut, we'll accept it. But they are being arrogant about it. You hear the chairman of the finance committee talking about other things to say that that is the reason. It has nothing to do with it. You hear the majority leader saying that you can't give what you don't have. Really?
Precisely. Precisely. If you want to leverage this as the politics to get to government, then you have to change your script, because this is not going to work.
Alfred, this has nothing to do with our politics. It has everything to do with the cocoa farmers. This is about people's lives. And so they are minimizing the matter. They are trivializing it. I'm sorry, but the Honorable Ayariga is trivializing the matter. And they are sounding hollow when they keep doing this. They are sounding insensitive, insulting, because really what it comes down to, Alfred, it's like your salary. Brigadier General is giving you comfort that at the end of the month you're going to make this. So you have made your projection for the year. This is what is coming in, this is what I'm going to manage. My family, we sat down and said, well, this is our income basket. This is how we're going to deal with it. And then Finance Minister Atuforson came out in suit and tie to say that he's ducking your paycheck by 1,030. Now, is your livelihood. Nobody can politicize that matter. So you in Parliament, when you are sitting in the comfort of Parliament, air conditioning and everything, the cocoa farmer in Seshiri also does not have that comfort. And so if you have taken a decision that is affecting their livelihood, you don't come to Parliament and arrogantly make those provisions and make it about MPP. It's not about MPP.
I see.
It's not about MPP. So what we have now is COCOBOD trying to socialize its wrong decision. The losses that are emanating from its decision, they're trying to socialize it and make the farmer bear the responsibility. They want the farmer to bear the cost. So when Honorable Ayariga is saying that you cannot give what you don't have, can the farmer give what they don't have? For all the farmers now, most of them, they make like 10, 20, 30, the maximum about 50 bags. That's all they have. That's all they have. But then this government is forcing them to give what they don't have, because that is their entire budget for the year. That's all they can make. And now you are telling them to give you 1,030 Ghana cedis out of every single bag. I cannot see how this sits with anybody. I don't see why this sits with the government. So this is not about MPP, Alfred. If that's what they want to run for cover, then they are losing the fight. They are losing the argument. They promise they will do better. They will promise they'll do better. So this whole business of going back and talking about yesterday, that conversation have been litigated and they won the debate. They've been voted. Now they must deliver. This talk across the spectrum of it is this, it is JUTSAC, it is this, it's not washing. People's livelihoods are at stake. You can't socialize your inefficiency. You can't socialize your incompetence and make it the burden of the farmer. That's what they are doing. And so, Honorable Adongo and the rest of them, they should stop talking. They should come and beg the farmers and say that we have made a wrong decision. Which wrong decision has brought about some difficulty? How do we fix it? I think that the farmers will begin to listen to them. But if they go on this tangent, they are losing it. This is not about politics. This is about people's lives. This is about people's livelihood. That's all they have. They don't have much. That's all they have. And I'm a farmer and I understand that. Because at the end of the year, what you have is what you have. You don't get any incentive from anywhere. Okay? You don't get any incentive from anywhere. That's all you have. And now they are taking 1,030 Ghana cedis out of it. It's unconscionable. It's insensitive, and I don't think that they should go about making these flimsy arguments to insult farmers as though that they are being unreasonable. It is they who have made a mistake, and they must take the responsibility.
We're going to interrogate exactly the context of this reduction that we are seeing, because you spent quite some time talking about it.
Right.
Martin Bebo has joined us. He is a private legal practitioner in good standing, and also the convener of the Kobe demonstration, a petitioner for the removal of the OSP. Good morning.
Morning. It's a can say. And of course, it's good to the distinguished. or to clarify, my petition is still pending. Yeah, I've received numerous calls. Yes, mine has not been thrown out. It's a matter of all petitions. Yes, well, you see, so I've stated that if there's everybody throws that one out, it's going to shake my confidence in the system. And I mean, I know what I put in that petition. Yeah, I know what I put in that petition. Now, of course, we'll publish a whole of it. If it gets thrown out, we'll publish the whole of it, and then we'll see whether it deserves to be thrown out or not.
No, it's a big conversation this morning.
Okay.
So
all right. So once again, it's good to be here. Ghana's #1 uncontested and paralleled show. Yeah. Thank you very much, Ghanaians, for making this the biggest, and the uncontested and unparalleled one.
True.
And it's your insights, your corrections, etc. that keeps us thriving. So as always, you're welcome to participate. They send us a lot of insights through WhatsApp messages, etc.
I receive topics from our guests, our viewers every week.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. Some will write letters, and those outside of Accra. So, I mean, they're a big part of the show.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. Thank you. So, once again, let's reiterate our love for our heroes and heroines. When Ahiagbenko were mismanaging and misruling us and didn't want us to talk. So, we are talking about Togbe Afede. We are talking about Osei Adeyo Ajimabedu II. We are talking about Garmanche, Kentucky Tekuchu II, right? Yes, these are people who stood up and, of course, made sure that they told the Akufo-Addo that what was going on was wrong. And for those of you who kept quiet and who enabled the Akufo-Addo, I hope today you see the difference. Next time when we tell you to speak up, we hope you would appreciate why you needed to do that. So thank you. Thank you. And of course, the prostate people. Important. Yes, men above 40, please. We don't want to lose you. Go do the prostate check, right? Very, very important.
Yeah.
And then those who urinate outside, please, we are on it. The campaign is on.
True.
Stop urinating outside.
No, it's important.
Yeah,
it's important. The last time you mentioned this, we got some people even sending us videos. So it is a public concern, which I'm sure
those who own cars, put empty bottles in your car. Right, that's for the guys. For the ladies, well, maybe we'll come out with something. But that's always been the old trick. You travel out there decades ago, 23 years ago, they say, hey, you go out there, they say, put this in your backpack. In case of emergency, you know how to use it. Or in your car, put it. You'll never go wrong, with an empty bottle.
That's a one-sided guidance.
But that's all we can do for now.
Indeed. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Mr. Samuel Adumado is also joining us on Zoom. He is the president of the Licensed Buyers, that's COCOBOD Buyers Association, that's of Ghana. He's joining us on Zoom. We'll try to get the Zoom stabilized in a bit so that we'll connect to him. Mr. Adumado, good morning. Can you hear us?
Yes. Good morning, Alfred.
Thank you.
Is it okay?
It's better. Better. It's way better.
Yeah, good morning to the panel and then the panelists and then the listening general public. Yeah.
Perfect. So don't move again. Can you just stay where you are? I'm going to come to you in a bit. But this reduction that we are seeing was in context. When the finance minister announced this, he referenced what is happening globally. This particular development. Right now, the price of cocoa on the world market has been tumbling for a while, now selling at $3,152 per ton. In fact, when this decision was taken, it was hovering around 3,800 thereabout. And it's been reducing and going down up until this point. And if you listen to the forecast, it's actually going to go below $3,000 in the coming weeks, all things being equal. Taking that reality into consideration, and then what we were paying farmers then, would you say that government's response wasn't realistic to, as it were, attract the buyers of cocoa who said that our cocoa beans was quite expensive and so having to look out for other alternatives, which then led to eventually the cocoa farmer still was going to lose, because now what is happening in Côte d'Ivoire is that the farmers are not getting buyers to buy, and the government is mulling the idea of going on Ghana's path as well.
Yeah, so the decision is not strategic.
It's not strategic?
It's not strategic because, you see, COCOBOD is not just a a company that exists for no reason, right? It has a strategic economic value to the state, where it is a vehicle to mobilize forex for the state. And so because the price has gone down, which it does over time, right? And it has always been going down. And so because it's gone down and you are changing the price middle of the season, okay? When you have given people guarantee, COCOBOD is a monopoly. And which monopoly grants COCOBOD the power to be the sole buyer of cocoa beans? Farmers don't have any option to go anywhere. And so if you have that monopoly power and you have given people comfort of price, and they have gone to execute their part of the deal to bring you cocoa beans, okay? And in the process, you come to reduce the price, you are abusing that monopoly power. You understand? And then also, looking at the strategic, position of COCOBOD as a matter of a vehicle to mobilize forex. If you do that now, for the farmer, it's business. So the farmer now decides that, okay, cocoa is no longer profitable for me because the price is going down, the government keeps bringing the price down. So if the price keeps going down all the way down, what would you do? Would you stop exporting cocoa? You understand? So the government has to come in with creative ideas to see how do we maintain the industry, because this is not just about the farmer, it's about the country and our economy as well. So if you are just going to be emotional about it and say that, it's going down, so we're also going to go down, that is not strategic. In our time, cocoa prices went down. They always go down. You understand? But then government must be strategic, seeing the vision and the objective of COCOBOD. You have to be strategic. Cocoa is not one thing we can say, if we don't produce cocoa and sell cocoa again, we are fine. We have to. Okay?
Absolutely.
The idea about processing it is great, but right now, you have to be strategic to keep the sector. So the decision that is made has the potential to collapse the sector.
It has the potential
to collapse. Yes, because if I am a farmer, and what rationale the finance minister gave when he brought the price, that the world price is going down and all of that, which Ghana doesn't control the world price. Are you with me? Ghana doesn't control. So what it means for me as a farmer is that Ghana cannot help me. The price is going down. If it's going down, why am I rationally in the cocoa business? And mind you, there is a second factor that is fighting against cocoa, which is galamsey. Okay, and we've heard a story about how people are giving up their cocoa farms for galamsey, right? So when you create an environment like this, and you tell cocoa farmers that we can't support you, we don't have a stake in the industry. It is only you, the farmer, who has a stake. Clearly the state doesn't have a stake in the farm that I own, right? The only thing is that they want to offtake it, manage and sell it and whatever. But in terms of primary interest is the farmer. So the farmer makes a rational decision. You can't stop them from being rational about their income and say that cocoa is no longer the future for me. And so when they divest from cocoa to go and do something else, who is suffering? The state. So the state must be strategic to say that we can't do that. We need to find other ways. So right now, they should keep the price where it's at. Well, but if they can't increase it, I'm coming.
Yes.
If they can't increase it, keep it where it's at.
Okay.
And then be strategic to see that, okay, what are the options? And now they are saying that 50% of it will be processed at home. So you are creating domestic demand for it so that you can still have the production going on. Okay? Because the COCOBOD is supposed to figure it out. It's supposed to market cocoa. True. That's all their job. The farmers are supposed to produce it. So what they are telling us is that they can't be creative enough to market cocoa. And so because they can't market it, and so therefore what? So we as a country, we need cocoa. It's an integral part of how far we have come. The history of Ghana cannot be written without cocoa. So where we are, the government must, first of all, its first order of business must be to save the cocoa sector. And the decision to reduce the price is not saving it, it's collapsing it.
You say it's not strategic?
It's not.
Okay.
You understand?
Now, this particular reduction is for the next cocoa season, is it not? Because what has been sold now...
No, it's the season under review.
Honorable Ataisa, specific. Is this going to affect what is already in stock?
No. even if they will buy it, recently they've just mop up the excess in the market, so they will buy it at the new price.
Yes, but what has been sold already?
Yes, was sold at
365.
Yes.
So that's the distinction.
Yeah.
That I want
so that's about the 50,000 metric tons or so.
Yes.
So that the old price applies to that. What has been taken in already.
Absolutely.
Okay. So if your salary will be reduced, at least what you have earned this month will be given. So it's the next month that they are reducing. That's the point. But you see, the only thing is that the next month's salary that they are reducing is part of this month for the farmer. It's part of the season that we have. So if they had anything to do at all, I'd suggest that perhaps wait till the season ends, and when you are coming with a new pricing window, if you decide not to be strategic at all, not to care about the sector, and want to collapse it, then you can tell farmers you are going to reduce the price. But prices have been going down all the time.
Okay.
I've read, but no government have taken the decision they have taken now to reduce the price to make it affect the cocoa farmer. That's the novelty of the situation.
The focus is of concern is the cocoa farmer and how all of this affect the cocoa farmer.
Yes.
The other one, the Apiakubi is a cocoa farmer. He has 50 acres or more of cocoa farm, and a former member of parliament for the Asantiachim North constituency. Good morning. Welcome. It's good to have you join us. He's a lawyer as well, by the way, in good standing.
It's interesting when I'm invited into conversations in respect of cocoa and cocoa farming. Sometimes I don't want to apportion blame to anybody. It is an industry that has been mismanaged from beginning till now. The reason is that the concept itself expected...
Hold on to that point. I was just introducing you that you are here.
Oh, okay.
So I'll come to you for your substantive take.
All right.
I know, Ataisa, a number of issues have been raised.
Yes.
In fact, the proposal by the minority, which I hear Richard Ahiagba also suggests, the impact this is having on the cocoa farmer is going to have on the cocoa farmer. And rather than reduce the price, should have looked out for a bailout. That was one of the suggestions, correct?
That makes sense, yes.
So
It's been done before, so it's not a new thing.
So why didn't you go on that path?
Okay, so let me say good morning to my seniors and to the viewing public. It is important, this is livelihood issues or the welfare matters of the average cocoa farmer. So let me also express our satisfaction with the Minister of Finance releasing $1 billion Ghana cedis to the LBCs to settle the cocoa farmer. I think the bottom line of all these conversations that we are doing is to make sure that how do we get the cocoa farmer paid. So we shouldn't lose fact of the...
And paid well. For that
and paid well. So now, having paid or started paying the cocoa farmer, we need to create an environment where every Ghanaian will know what exactly led us into this situation. You can't help yourself but to do a historical analysis of this whole thing.
But how much of the past?
How much? So I would now demonstrate how much of it can be apportioned to the regime of the past. Okay. I will demonstrate that with the validated SOEs that was done by the IMF Statistical Department. And it's important so that subsequently, Honorable Richard, when they are making those files, they should be guided by what has been validated by the IMF at their fourth review. Before I do that, we must understand that cocoa price or the farm gate price is a share of the FOB price, is that not it?
Yes, indeed.
And they do it at the beginning of the year. And Alfred, look at the determinants of the FOB price. It is a share of that FOB price that they use to determine what the farm gate price is to the farmer.
Right.
The first they use is what we call a forecast international cocoa price. That's the London and the New York futures. At the beginning, the Minister of Finance, the Bank of Ghana, all make projections as to what the average price of cocoa will be at the end of the season or throughout the season. And Alfred, if this is a major component of the price build-up, it means that any drop in your forecasted price at the beginning will affect the whole price of the FOB.
True.
The farm gate price is not in absolute terms. It's an expected share of that determined FOB at the beginning of the farming season. So when you have your forecast international cocoa price plummeting, natural consequences is that it will have a burden on the farm gate price given to the cocoa farmer. The second one they use is the forward sales contract, already signed. And I want to use what the IMF themselves said and the impact of the forward contract that was done, or the rollovers that we suffered as a country, is quantum, or the effect it had on this current cocoa season 2025-2026.
Which IMF report are you quoting from?
The validated SOEs dates by the IMF Fiscal Department. In fact, they met the Finance Committee 2 weeks ago in Parliament, and it is before us in Parliament.
Interesting.
The third one they use in the price build-up is the exchange rate. And also in the report, you see that as a result of the prudent management of our exchange, Ghana has already saved 317 million in the loan portfolio. The gain, the exchange gain, has resulted in cost savings of 317 million Ghana cedis as a result of the better management of our city. And then the fourth one is the financing cost. So if you have the cost of capital being high, it has impact on the FOB prices because they take the average of the weighted average of all your portfolios and input it in that of the price build-up and then the light crop and whatever. I'm bringing this to suggest that any time that any of these factors changes, there's a likelihood that it will lead to a change in the FOB price, and that will affect the expected farm gate price.
Right.
That's number one. The second one, too, is that you remember the NDC government started in 2025 after 6th January. At the time the NDC started, the total liability of COCOBOD, in fact, the working capital of COCOBOD, that was validated in October 2024 by the Ministry of Finance themselves. The total working capital that was needed by COCOBOD to purchase in the 25-26 cocoa season was 30.1 billion Ghana cedis. That was the working capital needed. However, the IMF in October 2024 identified risk exposures to the operations and difficulties in financial terms with the COCOBOD because they identified the cocoa road sector and say that how can you need 30 billion Ghana cedis to purchase your core function, which is buying cocoa, marketing and selling, and getting money to pay farmers and also show up our buffers. Then you are exposed to 26 billion Ghana cedis in awards of road contracts. That was the government revelation made by the IMF in October 2024.
I see. So cocoa roads alone that had been awarded contracts
was almost equal to the total working capital that was needed to perform the core functions of COCOBOD.
And you say it's in the IMF report?
Yes. Parliament, these are public records. Now, let me say something Richard said, and they keep on mentioning that, and it's important that we clarify it. In 2023-2024, I want to demonstrate the excessive risks that we got as a result of the forward sales. Now, in the previous financing mechanisms of COCOBOD, we used to use the syndicated concept. What it means is that you get the equivalent of money in dollars. I remember those days when the money arrives, you see that there will be some level of stability in the Ghanaian cedi. Then based on that, you go to the cocoa farmer through your LBCs, purchase cocoa, export, and then pay the syndicated loan. Then the rest is declared as dividend to government.
Right.
However, for the first time, a financing mechanism was brought where Ghana or COCOBOD became the nexus between the person with the available funds and the cocoa farmer.
True.
So at that time, we needed to depend solely on the appetite of the person giving you the funds, based on the performance in the market, his risk appetite level, and whatever. Now, you went at the time of sources for the funding to come and buy the cocoa beans, projected that you will make 800,000 metric tons for the year. And out of the 800,000, you already said 786,672 tons should be forward sealed through the forward contract. You don't have the 800,000 metric tons because these are projections. And in Prof, they taught us when you are doing research, you give margin of error. So you are expecting 800,000 metric tons worth of cocoa at the beginning of the year. Then you commit 786,672 to the person with the funds. Then you ended the year with only 450,000 metric tons. This is what the IMF said. only 18 to 20% of the projected sales remain exposed to spot prices during the subsequent global price collapse. What it means is that 84% of the total production we were expecting in this country were already forward sold at a fixed rate of $2,661. What they are now telling us, pricing decision gone wrong, what they don't know is that Ghana had access to only 18% of the remaining crops to even do forward sales or spot trade or hedge. The rest of the 84% were already locked in. So COCOBOD decision could only influence 18% of the metric tons that we produce in a year.
Which is what you know,
exactly
reduced price.
Exactly.
But then again, okay, you go ahead.
Yes. So now look at very important information for every Ghanaian. I think that sorry to say this, but sometimes when we are doing national discussions like this, we have to sometimes look beyond politics. If you reflect properly, you see that you actually contributed a lot to the current difficulties that we are suffering.
If you say you mean what? Who?
I mean Richard and his group. I want to read the validated legacy financial burden. Yes, the legacy financial burden and debt position of COCOBOD as of 2024. The overall inherited debt, COCOBOD entered the 2025 with roughly 17.8 billion Ghana cedis in loans alone. Loans is different from total liabilities because there are other operational liabilities that COCOBOD has and forward contracts. But I'm talking about loans they actually went to take. That every month, this current government has to pay principal and interest. 17.8 billion in loans. The current NDC government, out of the 17.8 billion, has already paid 3.4 billion Ghana cedis. And I want to give, this is a table that was done by the African Development Bank. And you can access it on their website. African Development Bank loan principal repayments. As of February this year, the total outstanding was 1.872 billion Ghana cedis COCOBOD owes African Development Bank. 1.872 billion in 1 year.
And this it was taken within which particular crop season?
2024. The total loan portfolio as of 2024 was 17.8 billion. The total loan portfolio. Now, every loan, you pay principal and that of the interest. I'm saying that by the time the NDC took office, the total amount of money we were owing the African Development Bank was 1.72 billion Ghana cedis. Dr. Randy Abe and the finance minister has already paid 1.2 billion Ghana cedis, even under these difficulties. And people will ask, why did we pay when we can't pay the cocoa farmer? Let me tell you something. The interest on that loan accrued to about 209 million Ghana cedis. Interest payments on the African Development Loan was 209 million Ghana cedis. Dr. Randy Abe has already paid 165 million out of the 209 million.
That is the interest.
Interest. So the more you delay or defer payment of the African Development Bank loan, the more you pay the interest cost on it. Then, now, there were other loans, the 10-year BOG loan with principal payment of 1.3 billion. There was also another 10-year BOG loan interest payment of 65 million Ghana cedis. Ministry of Finance, 1.8 billion. And then Cocoa Bonds, 9.3 billion. These were the summaries of the loan portfolio that was bequeathed to Ghana COCOBOD. And the impact of having short-term liquidity or loan burden on your books is because, one, you cannot go out and borrow with such books because every person you are going to borrow money from will look at capacity to pay.
True.
And that is why the financial engineering done by the Ministry of Finance is to convert the short-term loans into equity to free the COCOBOD of having good balance sheet that can attract foreign investments.
So this, you are just offloading some of the expenditure on the books of COCOBOD so that COCOBOD's book can look good.
Good.
So they can go onto the market.
Exactly. So it is important because if it is sitting in your bank, I've already just told you that the total interest accrued to African Development Bank is already 209 million. When you convert that African Development Bank into equity, this 200 million vanishes because that now the new debt becomes is contribution or capitalization to COCOBOD. So there's no more interest payment, and then you can defer other commitments to focus on your core mandate. And that's why we are saying that this haphazard way of doing things by COCOBOD in performing non-core functions should be a thing of the past. And the exchange gains from the African Development Bank data suggests that Ghana made exchange gains of 317 million Ghana cedis from the cedi appreciation of the 70 million bridge financing. So because of prudent management of the Ghanaian economy, we have made savings of 317 million Ghana cedis. These are what we call prudent management. Yes, it sometimes comes with painstaking decisions. For example, Richard, are you saying that you didn't know that cocoa farmers, you are now crying for cocoa farmers? When you did haircut on several millions of people, Madam Sophia Akufu had to picket at the Ministry of Finance. So you see, don't be doing those type of politics. My point is that you can't cry more than the bereaved. You have Bas party people claiming to be cocoa farmers.
How do you see
got to do with
you see, no, I'm telling you, we know what you know how the COCOBOD picketing. We know how the COCOBOD picketing happened. We know it. And
you know.
Yeah, we know.
You know.
In fact, they were met. I know people, and now national security the people will be interrogated because we know people
because of this.
We know people who were lied to, forced to come to Accra. In fact, giving them only T-shirts and 100 Ghana cedis. We know what you did.
So what? So
my point is that
you didn't reduce the price. Does that mean you didn't reduce the price, which affects them?
Now, let's look at the rollover impact on these prices that you gave us. And please, just a minute. This is what the rollover had on us according to the data. Because of the forward sales that we did, we incurred an additional cost on each ton, about 439 per ton on the rollover deliveries. So every ton we had, we increased the payment we were giving to the person with the funds by $439. Now, when we supplied, the time we supplied 335,394 tons, we made an additional payment because of exchange rate volatility. I already told you that in the price build-up, exchange fluctuations influence the FOB price. We increased an additional 103 million incremental expenditure on the 235,394 tons. When you do the net off, it means that there was a revenue gap between the time we signed and the time of payment to the people with the funds. We paid 3,939 on each metric ton of cocoa that we sold. We paid for.
I see.
This created a total deficit in terms of funding, about $927 million revenue loss overall. When you have difficulties like this, where are we expected to get $927 million to satisfy the recurring short-term liabilities?
So the case you're making is that the past has a direct bearing on the present.
Serious
burden.
Serious burden. Now, you don't need anybody to tell you the difficulties that COCOBOD is having as we speak. And I want to give you, finally, let's look at, my brother talked about, yes, it's important that I don't want to dwell more on the past alone. But the mandate of COCOBOD is clear for everybody to know since it was established. The mandate is to make sure that, one, we give better pricing to our cocoa farmers, two, to support our economic growth, and then make it vibrant in terms of performing its role in buying cocoa, processing, value addition, and all those things. I dare say, how on earth will you, after losing power, few days to your exit, you are still giving letters of credit for $48 million to buy jute sacks that are still sitting at the port? And when you say these things, in fact, the difficulties we are facing right now is, the question is, why are we not arresting them?
Yeah, so why?
And I think that I'm part of the group of people that also firmly believes that. Because even it is so glaring on the face of the audited financial statement of COCOBOD. So we don't want a situation where we'll start arresting you, then the conversation changes that we are persecuting you.
That's due process.
No.
Okay. Go according to
I'm
law.
saying that
what is this you're talking about?
A probe.
Yes. So I'm saying that
all of this.
Yes.
Why didn't this decision come way earlier than this crisis period?
Yes. So this is a legitimate question, and I don't want to hold brief as to why it wasn't done. But I sit on the finance committee, and I know that the books of COCOBOD for 2025 looks dire. You people mismanage the sector by your reckless commitments that you did. Will you believe that I have a statement from the 2024 audited financial statement? Last bullet. No, I'm coming. I want to read this statement. It's very important for me. And you can check it out on... Yes, it's here.
Which statement exactly is this?
The statement on budgeting versus what they actually spent.
Right.
It's very important because Ghana is governed by laws. Mm-hmm. Now look at the road contracts that I talked about. In 2014, in fact, I won't go far. Let me just start from 2018. In 2018, COCOBOD made no allocations for road contracts. Made no allocations. Mm-hmm. They ended spending 70 million Ghana cedis. In 2020, they made only 15,630,574 million Ghana cedis. They ended up by awarding road to a tune of 987,276,893.50 Ghana cedis. In 2021, they made a total of 400 million Ghana cedis on road contracts. Mm-hmm. They ended the year with 526 million. Now, this is where the catch is. In 2024, they made a total road commitments of 350 million. They ended the year spending 2,970,728,728.55 Ghana cedis. From 350,000 to 2.7 billion. Who do you expect to come and pay this type of debt? So when you look at the mess that is stated here, you ask yourself, what level of decision, what type of decision were we taking as a country? You inherited a COCOBOD with a net equity of 1.8 billion, meaning that when you take all the current liabilities of COCOBOD, from its current assets, we still have excess of 1.8 billion Ghana cedis. You bequeath to the new government a net loss in equity to 5.9 billion Ghana cedis. And yet you have the audacity to be talking. That is sometimes that's why I began the statement by saying that yes, the reality of the matter is that the cocoa farmer needs to be paid, but we must also do that with capacity and the sustainability of the cocoa sector. We cannot, when you have a basket that has holes.
The concern is that whatever decision that you have taken now is impacting on the cocoa farmer negatively.
Yes, I've already given you the price build-up that led us here.
Why was the bailout not an option for you? So that in the midst of all of this, the cocoa farmer will still have their gains.
But I'm saying that
that's one of
the balance sheet
that was
the balance sheet of COCOBOD cannot borrow such an amount of money. I said that if you look at the loan portfolio of COCOBOD, it doesn't have the capacity to borrow. And it may be funny to you, but let's be serious here. The point is that on what is the books that you are using to go into the domestic market or the external market? You are using the healthy balance sheet. I'm saying that COCOBOD do not have a healthy balance sheet. Number two, as part of the restructuring that we are proposing, we are now saying that all government debt that was sitting on the books of COCOBOD should be converted into equity. Then based on that, we will now have a healthy balance sheet of COCOBOD, then we'll issue the domestic cocoa bonds. And if you observe the recent treasury bills, the last one we did 2 weeks ago, we had oversubscription.
Yes. The oversubscription has been consistent for the past at least.
And why is that? Because everybody knows that government portfolios are mostly risk-free. It was only under Akufo-Addo that the government portfolios were no longer risk-free and was risky assets. So I'm saying that when we do that, government promises to give guarantees to the market, such that because they know Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Roads, and the Bank of Ghana are owners of COCOBOD now through their equity contribution, people will have trust in COCOBOD to give funds or short-term funds for COCOBOD to purchase, so that we end the cycle of always going out to borrow at higher rate, because it is people business in the past to go and negotiate on these things. Now it will be clear. And then just like gold and cocoa, we also want to make the cocoa a deregulated market, such that at any time the price will be there for every Ghanaian to know how much it is. Currently, this figure you are seeing is 92% that you are seeing being paid to the cocoa farmer. As of yesterday, price still fell. And the expectation is that by Bloomberg, Ghana's price is likely to fall up to 2,600 by April. Okay. By April this year. So if that continues, what happens to the revenue of COCOBOD? And that's why government is taking this bold decision to make sure that we add value to our cocoa.
Okay, that's the next phase of the conversation. But the reality is what has been faced with right now and the impact thereof. Professor Ransford Jampo, as I indicated earlier, is going to be joining us. He's here in person. Flesh and blood. Good morning to you, Prof. Thank you for joining us.
Morning, Alfred. I trust all is well. It's been a long time.
Indeed.
Yeah. We've been busy, and then also now Saturdays are for, I told you, weddings and funerals and all other things. And more importantly, I think that this program has also evolved. Now we are having more guests, appearing as panelists. Thankfully,
how many more?
Anyagba and MPP, they are also here. You are here on your own, please. So I think that so it makes sense a little for us to give way for others to also contribute. I mean, I'm seeing Professor Bafo Ajmedia, lawyer Justice Abdullahi, and all these people being fielded. And I think that it's all good. I mean, wisdom and sense would not reside in only one person's, head. And so it's important that we give the space. So as and when we find the time, we have not abandoned the program. We will still be coming. But let me greet my shippers and then my shipping service providers. And the ritual is always to tell them what we've been doing briefly. We have succeeded in getting GRA and customs to abolish VAT on transit cargo, and this, in our view, would help to improve trade volumes, which ultimately will benefit all port stakeholders and also improve government revenue. You recall that also government, through the finance minister, abolished COVID-19 levy. And in spite of this, some shipping lines were still charging. We received reports about it. We went to the shipping lines. They also explained that they were using the opportunity, they were trying to recalibrate their system, reconfigure their system so that COVID levy could go off. And so we've had a certain discussion with them. If you have paid COVID levy after government had announced that it's been abolished, the shipping lines are willing to refund. So we are working for you. Now, Alfred, greetings to Martin Kpebu,
yes,
and then greetings to Richard, my football mate. Richard Anyagba, you are still under me. Yes, you are still my student, yes, and so you have to comport yourself.
It's okay. Thank you.
Greetings to my honourable MP, and then greetings to my senior. Senior, it's been a long time. Yes, you have a lot of money, but cocoa farmer, it's a lot of money, but you don't look for it.
Thank you very much. No, it's good to know that you have not finished your PhD.
Yeah, he has not finished. And so he must comport himself. Otherwise, you would write in perpetuity.
Intellectual intimidation. Thank you. So you see, hearing, and I'll come back to you, because
you don't want me to have a say on the cocoa?
No, not yet.
You haven't. Okay, all right. Okay, thank you.
Yes. Hearing, and it's good that you see the question about how the past has impacted on the present, so that we get to know exactly how the way forward would look like. Because we are at this point primarily because whatever is happening now is impacting on the cocoa farmer. That's the basic. But we need to understand how things have played out over the period. The position of the MPP is that, look, you are confronted with the realities of today, which has nothing to do with the past. But hearing the Honorable Atta Issa outline what happened and the decisions that were taken that impacted on the present, is there any justification for what we are seeing now? Because if COCOBOD needs a working capital of 30.1 billion, and yet Cocoa Road contracts of 26.4 billion have been awarded, that's quite troubling, is it not?
Yeah, Alfred, let me congratulate Honorable Atta for once trying to lay out the expectations of the conceptualists at the beginning of COCOBOD. In fact, except that he left a few of them, like income stabilization as one of the objects, and also consolidation of the industry. These two were left out. I add them to it. Income stabilization meant that they needed to create a fund that could insulate the cocoa farmers' earnings against fluctuations in the market. And consolidation of the industry means that the industry itself ought to have had money to be able to provide management cost and also provide even seed capital for continued operations. We didn't expect COCOBOD to be borrowing. We expected that, in fact, 3 years down the line after the formation, COCOBOD ought to have had enough reserve to be able to continue its operations, in fact, into even years. So the idea of seeking loans to pay for bills ought not to have happened at all. Mm-hmm. In fact, the conversion of debt into equity is not a sustainable program. It is not sustainable at all. It is like you've gone to make losses and then you come to your father and say, buy my losses by all means. You see, it is the same family resource that you are going to dissipate. And that cannot be a solution. But the solution lies in the concept of creation. So why have we deviated from the concept of creation into new concepts that cannot be sustained? Mm-hmm. And that includes ancillary works and citing cocoa roots. I mean, how did cocoa root become more important than financing cocoa in the industry and growing the industry and even value addition? All of a sudden, and let us not blame maybe not one regime. Yeah. Since the time immemorial, the creation of the stabilization fund was seen by succeeding governments as avenue to collect revenue for other government programs. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that it is wrongful, but it is wrongful when you are hurting the industry by so doing. And in any case, when the man doesn't have money, why does he have to give money for others? You understand? And basic economics, you need to consolidate your gains.
What do you mean exactly?
No, if you don't have money, how would you give money to others? And what I'm saying is that...
Who is the man you're talking about?
The man COCOBOD. You don't have the money.
He doesn't have money.
Does he have money?
Now, he made a promise. That he will pay a certain price.
I don't want to go into the propaganda, the politics. But let's look at COCOBOD as an institution charged with a responsibility. How have they deviated from that responsibility? And I don't want to also say this government, that government. And this is the way we allow public servants to misbehave and get away with it because of their political clothing. I don't want to go by that. If people come into office, public service office, and you misbehave, you should be seen as the person who would have misbehaved. Yes. And then let us put you to the law and go and defend yourself, rather than saying that Appiah, of course, is MPP. But if I go to misbehave, you cannot lead me because I'm MPP or NDC. Mm-hmm. You see, let's bring Appiah to the table and say, why did you do A, B, C, D? Because when you go to public service, you know that there are these expectations. And if you accept to be equal to the tax there, we cannot bring any excuse to say that I didn't understand. Because I didn't understand should be discussed at the point of entry. And again, the moment you politicize negligence of public officers, then it becomes NPP defends NDC, NDC defends. You see, we won't get anywhere doing that because this transfer of debts into equity is something that has come for all of us as Ghanaians to pay because it is debt. Simplicity.
We are going to pay.
We are going to pay. Debt. I mean, how would we find money to offset those debts? And we think that is solution to the problem. No, the solution lies in the creation. So let's go back to the creation. What did we have to do that we didn't do? And go and do them well. And indeed, if we had, in the next 5 years, I expect whoever comes to COCOBOD to manage it such that you will have enough resources keeping us working capital. I expect COCOBOD to have enough resources to keep us stabilization fund. And in any case, from the beginning of COCOBOD to now, the situation has always been the same. Price fluctuation in the industry, it is not new. So whenever you are appointed there, you know that you face such challenges. That is why the initial concept was to create a stabilization fund because we expected that at some point...
So that whatever fluctuation
will be absorbed in that fund.
Okay.
So when you see fluctuations in the market, it is nothing new. Except that only last year, we missed the opportunity to capitalize on the premium prices of last year.
Point,
that was only 1 point.
In fact, between 2023, 2024, 2025, we tracked the prices on the world market. It went to as high as almost $11,000 per ton.
Yes.
But at the time, we had locked our prices. So we couldn't cash in.
Yes, we couldn't cash in. And again, we could still have done some forward sales, even there. We could still have done some forward sales, except that we're too interested in probably defraying the already locked up debt. You understand? But we could still have done some forward sales. And
they said that yes. CMC, the cocoa marketing every honorable effect. They say, no, by the time the prices plummeted, they are sold about 80% already. And then they did forward sales. So it's Jandam that I am going to say here that they didn't sell at the right time.
The record suggests that they've done the forward sales even at the peak times. So where is the balance? And why are we struggling?
So why are we reducing?
Why are we struggling? You see, so I'm saying that it is important to make reference to the past. But when we make reference to the past, we also have to do some corrections.
Okay.
And in fact, doing the corrections, I support the position he took that people must be brought to account. And indeed, Richard was saying, go through due process. Yes, but nevertheless, come and account. I don't subscribe to the situation of saying it is because he was a politician, therefore let him go. No, whoever would have done anything untoward for us to have lost revenue, let the person come to account. I mean, if you have any explanation why there is this, but sometimes in the public service, when people misbehave in public service and want to come under political parties' cover, this one I disagree, because all public institutions have limits on spending. What reason would you ascribe to you not respecting that limit and going overboard? And if you have gone overboard without authority, then you would have caused a mess by your own understanding and thinking. So we should also respect budget limits. Because when you say your spending limit should be this, then you go 3 times as much. Who is going to pay for that much? In fact, this revelation of payment awarding 26 billion contract when your own capital is even close to the same amount of money and you are going to borrow to finance that one, it doesn't make any economic sense. So for me, let's move away from that. Moving away from that doesn't mean those people should go scot-free. In fact, I think that people must be held accountable for their stewardship. I strongly support that. But going forward, let's also see an industry that is beneficial to all of us as Ghanaians, to me as a farmer, and to institutions of state. But again, I will also point to the fact that some governments in the past have also benefited wrongly from the stabilization fund that was earmarked to support the industry. So let us put a stop to that one also. In most cases, In fact, my association with the industry, sometimes the government will see establishing fund building up to some point. They say, bring this money. And then they come and take the money. The time that they need the money to show the industry, the money is gone to other places. So please, let's be disciplined in also economic management and our general management. Governance is not about creating unnecessary expectations that cannot be met. Governance is about making sure that we steadily progress in whatever we are doing. So all of us must come to the drawing table. I don't expect us to come here in the next 5 years, be talking about fluctuations again.
Okay, thank you. But you see, I'll come to you, but I'll come because there are a number of things you respond to, and then I'll go to Professor Jampo. The Catholic Bishops' Conference has waded into this matter. Their concern is, yes, the realities are staring us in the face as we are seeing on the world market. Yeah. But whatever the case might be, do not, as government, take a decision that would impact the cocoa farmer this way, because that has a ripple effect of, for instance, not only robbing them of their revenue, but some of them now would now be tempted to surrender their cocoa farms to Galamsey operators and so on. That's one of the major issues that they raise in there. That's a relevant concern, at least, is it not?
Well, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll take from the positive, okay, the side of Agbada Musa Soed. You remember last week you asked me the same question, that what shall we do in this case, right, with this plummeted prices and the problem we are facing. And I said we have to engage the cocoa farmers and give them more information, more education. And Ahiagba said so. I agree with that, except that where I'll depart from, and that's what the Catholic Bishops Conference is saying, that we shouldn't reduce the prices, right? But we are in dire straits now. So if we were to call the farmers and to have an open dialogue, like Ahiagba said, they would understand. Except that Ahiagba and Co are now grandstanding. The time they were in office and we were telling them how to engage, they didn't listen. Today, they are grandstanding and saying we should what? Engage. But the key thing, you see, with what the Catholic Bishops' Conference have said, I've not seen them acknowledging the fact that, look, it's not the case that COCOBOD sat on the cocoa and the prices plummeted, like Ahiagba is saying. I think that particular point, if I haven't said anything at all this morning, what I want to make clear is that that statement is not supported by any facts. You see, it's jandam. When you say COCOBOD sat...
18,000 metric tons, you're saying that? You said that?
Sorry, say that again.
You're mentioning about some 18,000 metric tons.
I said less than 18%. Okay. You are saying that the problem we have today is due to COCOBOD sitting on the beans and the prices plummeting. I'm saying that is false. Let's correct that. Let's not do that.
Nobody said that.
That is what you said. That's your main problem.
No, we're saying that it's a trading decision.
Yes, and we're saying that you are wrong. You are misleading us.
So that 18%, you don't think that you should make a right decision on it if that's that's the fact?
No, you said the majority of it. You said we sat on the beans.
I'm saying that.
You said we sat on the beans.
You have made a trading decision that is gone bad. That's it.
No, that did not.
And then also, you had the opportunity to even forward sale. You make your point.
Yes, so the point you want to burst your bubble. Look, I've seen it on social media. Your communicators have been lying all over, saying that we are in this crisis because the beans were not sold at the right time. And I'm saying that is false. You've been saying all this. Do you have any RTI from COCOBOD and Cocoa Marketing Company confirming this? How do you go out into the public saying that this problem is due to the fact that we sat on the beans hoping that the prices will go high so that we'll sell at a higher price and then it plummeted? That is what your communicators have been saying. I've seen Miracles Abuaje, I've seen this in the MP, some other MP, right? I've seen all of them lying to the public. Why do we do this? Listen, you guys lost an election. I think the MPP still don't get it right. Look, Richard, you are that much educated, a lot of tertiary education. I have some. Why do you, and millions of Ghanaians do, why do you think that after losing an election, you should straight away go into propaganda? It doesn't work that way.
Okay, so
we are not. No, let's
answer the question. The question is what is on the board. Answer. Talking about me is not the solution. No, the answer is on the board.
Yes, the only point I want to address is the jandam, because I've seen that when we put out too much data, then the main problem gets misdiagnosed. We are saying that the MPP's diagnosis of this problem is false. It's jandam. They say that we are in this crisis because COCOBOD sat on the beans in the hope that prices will go higher so that they can cash in, and then instead the prices plummet. And we're saying that is false. Over 80% had already been sold. That is it. I have been in touch. You know, it's a cocoa marketing company that sells, right? CMC. Guys, I've been in touch. You know, there's a MD Wisdom Dogbe. They said, look, they had sold this. They had sold this. So it is false when MPP comes. Look, listen, it says, look, let me show you. It says that CMC, a subsidiary of COCOBOD, responsible for selling of cocoa, actually sold more than 80% of the cocoa before global prices plummeted. And MPP is all over town deceiving citizens. Let's answer the question. So the problem, what I'm saying is that, so right now, this whole debate is being fueled by propaganda, jandam. That's what I'm saying. You even go and bring cocoa, you go and hire people, right, to come and demonstrate. Some of them say we are not cocoa farmers, so we're giving 200 Ghana, 20 Ghana to in Sefi, and now in at the COCOBOD headquarters. Why do you do this? You lost an election. Take your time. Listen, with time, Ghanaians are very savvy. When we see bad governance, we know. It's not when you artificially create bad governance. It's like you are in a hurry to create a big scandal. I've seen some of people saying, oh, the cocoa price haircut is the biggest scandal. No, take your time. Be constructive. You think if you were to, you see, this morning, if you had left out...
the question. You are not answering the question. You are just talking around the matter. You said they have reduced the price. That's the issue. And the farmers are demonstrating because the price has gone down. You are not addressing that. You are talking to me. Am I a cocoa farmer?
I've addressed it. Let me repeat. I've addressed it. I'm saying that the farmers, if they are engaged, if the figures are put on the table, everything laid bare, they would understand. But they have said that last week.
It's an engagement that we talked about as well, that you are saying has to be done.
Last week we even did so. We said that no, government should engage the farmers, do this stakeholder consultation, let bear the figures, and they would understand because they are also Ghanaians. They are Ghanaians, so that when prices are better, they will get better payment. But right now, as I said, the key thing we are suffering is that these MPP guys are fueling the debate with false data. They come and say, we are in this crisis because COCOBOD sat on the beans and they didn't sell at the right time. Meanwhile, they don't have any statement showing when the beans were sold, when the prices had plummeted. You don't have data. And you keep saying it all over social media. It started last week. I even had professors sending me this false data. I looked at that professor. I said, well, I know his track. Of course, I'm not mentioning it. But I know where he came from. The professors sending me. No, I'm saying that.
You're not answering the question.
I've answered it. What is the answer? The answer is that we will engage. No, don't worry.
You will engage. You are part of it.
I said we should engage them. Yeah, we are Ghana. I'm Ghanaian. So if Ghana engages,
no, what you said is not like Ghana. You said we will engage.
Yes. Yes, as a citizen, if my government engages the farmers, it covers all of that. So engagement will be done. And I'm sure even the engagement is good because at that engagement, then once again, it will be hammered home that this whole debate has been fueled by false statements. No, that's the first point. So let me continue. I hope I have 2 more minutes to wrap up. You remember 2 weeks ago, Randy Abe, so let's give you further details. Say by the time the market collapsed, COCOBOD had received about 580,000 metric tons of cocoa and already sold 530. So 530 had already been sold. Honorable referred to it. 530 had been sold before the prices plummeted. So their whole argument, the debate, the social media debate with the Jandam collapses. Because their key point, and I'm saying that if you haven't heard this morning, just hear one point. They say we are in this crisis because COCOBOD didn't sell at the right time. We are saying that before the prices plummeted, 530,000 metric tons out of 580 had been sold. So where is the argument? So is it the 50,000 that's the crisis?
50,000 is what the new price will be from.
Exactly. Stop deceiving us. Stop deceiving us. We don't like this propaganda. Let's build this nation together. Okay? And out of that, listen, let's come. And out of that, They have still sold about 45,000 K. So all we have is like the 50,000 left. And people come. You go and create an artificial crisis. Go and hire people. Hire people to come and demonstrate.
Okay, when so you know what? Please. If Honorable Abiakobi, please. I don't want the distractions. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll
make your point.
So having mentioned that the gendarme has been exposed, the bubble has been burst, including all their professors who are giving false data when they haven't verified from COCOBOD, right? And the cocoa marketing companies, specifically the company that actually does the sales, right? Remember, the COCOBOD sits at the top. It's cocoa marketing company that actually sells. That's CMC. Now, next point. So you remember Randy Abiu was here 3 weeks ago. He projected, and I have the soft copy. Maybe we should project it again. Honorable read the figures. You saw how the MPP administration turned COCOBOD into a road construction company rather than concentrating on cocoa. Yeah, you saw the contracts. The contracts were for cocoa road construction were suffocating COCOBOD. You used all the money to be able to do political things so that you would gain votes at the peril of COCOBOD. And today, the chicken have come home to roost. They've come home to roost. You'll not accept responsibility, but you come to grandstand. Come to grandstand when you actually caused it, right? Remember last week I referred to the bed, the animal kukuniko, that goes downstream, and then Admana,
all right,
right?
So
that goes downstream, then fouls the water or milks the water, then comes back. That saying doesn't exist. It exists.
Except that you didn't mention the right name.
What's the right name? Yeah, now make us kukuniko. So no fun
some education.
Yes,
if you are doing that, you have to quote it right. That's what he's saying.
It was left the last NI. You know, so after I didn't mention a different name altogether. This is kukuniko. So it was left kukuniko. Bye-bye. So, and that's the way we do it. So the point is that now, having created this problem with your redirecting COCOBOD, derailing COCOBOD from concentrating on managing an efficient cocoa buying then regulation system into a road construction company that was spending recklessly, including awarding some of the cocoa roads to what? Chairman Wuntumi. Remember 2020 elections, etc. You saw it, Chairman Wuntumi, Ashanti Regional Chairman of the NPP. You see cocoa roads awarded. They were distributing like Kose or Kulikuli, free, anyhow. And now the chicken, including Baumia's brother, he's called Ibrahim Baumia. He was also giving the cocoa contracts, sole sourcing. It came at social media. We bashed them, sir. Then people came and said, oh, he's a contractor, big-time contractor. All those contracts, Chairman Wuntumi, Ibrahim Baumia, etc., that is what we are reaping today. So please, I agree that the MPP should be the last to do grandstanding on this. When you want us, you see, you want us to support you, come on the positives alone. When we see negatives, we know. It's true that, look, when a new government starts, there's a lot of goodwill, right? And then when they perform, it can last. If they're not performing with time, it will dwindle. But when you are too much in a hurry to erode the goodwill, then we see that you don't really mean well. All you are looking for is political power. You think we cannot see through the difference if you just concentrated on the good? Oh, let's push forward this way. Let's push forward. We are also responsible. We want to hold so that we go forward. You think that message, we don't know? We know. But where your emphasis is on the negative, which turns out to be gendarme, you will stay in opposition far longer. Take it from us.
To respond to a number of things. Okay, first off is now the establishment based on no. If you comment, he will respond. I'll give him that. So, two things. This particular 50,000 tons is what, based on the verifiable data that Honorable Ataisa put out, this current price is being sold at. The cocoa roads has a history. In fact, it wasn't initiated by your administration. It's one that you inherited. Yeah. Over 26 billion cedis road contracts under cocoa roads is what you signed off, as against the 30.1 billion that COCOBOD needed as its working capital to buy beans. Why did that happen?
So I'll answer your question, but you see, I want to ask. Yeah. So what is this? What is my good brother suggesting, that Cocoa Road started under us?
No, I think.
Is that what he's saying?
No, that's
So that point is invalid. Okay. Is my brother saying that COCOBOD debt started with MPP Akufo-Addo? Is that what he's saying? No. So that point too is invalid. Now, what is left standing? It's a decision they have made to reduce cocoa price. I'm saying that decision is not strategic. Lawyer is saying, oh, MPP this, MPP that. It's not about MPP. Right now, as he's speaking, there's a farmer, a cocoa farmer, who is watching us and say, what in the name of God is this guy talking about? My price has been reduced. My price has been reduced. That's the bottom line. So what is he talking about? You understand? He was talking about some IMF matters and go and come and all of these things. We have history. But today, it is not about history. It's about a cocoa farmer and the price is going to get that the NDC has reduced. When the NDC left power, I sent you some stories, about 3 of them. Okay, one from Citi, one from Reuters, and then another. So it's about NDC and how they handle the cocoa sector.
Just give me 1 second.
Okay.
1 second.
You understand?
One of the issues we are raising this morning is that COCOBOD needs 30 billion
working capital. That is to trade.
And in 1 year, notwithstanding that expectation, that requirement, COCOBOD contracts in road sector 26 billion. How do we justify that decision?
I'll answer that question. But you see, unfortunately, I think that I have a feeling. Prof Japo has not spoken yet, so I don't want to bring him in.
Yes,
but I thought that today around this table, me and my senior brother Adepi Akubi is supposed to be advocating for the farmer, but somehow I don't follow where he's going. But it's okay. I'm coming. No problem. But I'm coming. You see, here's the point. When NDC, they want to talk about the debt, let me just give him an indication that this thing is not the point. When they were leaving office, they talk about rollovers and the rest of it. When they were leaving office, they took a syndicated loan of 1.8 billion, right? That money they were supposed to spend that to buy some 850 metric tons of cocoa. They bought just about 587,000 of cocoa, okay? About 262,872 metric tons was not paid. The money needed to pay for that was not there. That Reuters story, I sent you that Reuters story, okay? That they took the money, they didn't buy the cocoa, there was no money to buy the cocoa. Government and Akufo-Addo had to find the money to buy the cocoa. In fact, if you read the Citi story, you will see that 20th December, NDC cashed out $400 million out of that money. They draw down on that. To do what? That's about 1.69 billion Ghana cedis. They draw down. You have the story.
So the Reuters story you're referring to is Ghana's $1.8 billion loan for 2016, 2017.
Exactly.
Cocoa, in quote, is all gone. That's
it's all gone.
COCOBOD.
Exactly. That's Reuters.
They're quoting COCOBOD, a source in COCOBOD then.
Yeah.
Yes. That's Hakman Osu-Ajiman.
Oh.
That's what
I am saying that. What is trying to say?
No.
So Citi has the same story. Okay.
They're reported from the same source.
No.
We have multiple outlets.
But so where you are getting your information from is not from a source. Everybody getting their story from a source. So what I'm trying to tell you is that it is not today about the debt. Okay. Now, when NDC came, they've increased the cocoa price twice, haven't they? They inherited 3,100. They increased it to 3,228 and change, and then they now increased it later to 3,625. Alfred, did you hear any problem at that time to say that the debt of COCOBOD is the reason they can't increase it or the why they increased it? What condition allowed them to increase it at that time? Okay? Did COCOBOD not have the same debt that Lawyer Kwebu is talking about? Did you not have all the conditions they are talking about when they increase it to 3,228? Did they not have the same condition when they increase it to 3,625? So what is changed now? Suddenly, they are going back to tell us about debt. So that if those debts obtained, are you following me? If those debts they are talking about now obtained before they did the increase, we are not asking them, cocoa farmers are not asking them to increase the price. So the condition that allowed them to increase to 3,625, if nothing has changed, they should keep it at that price. You understand? So because the rationalization they are giving us today is that, oh, COCOBOD has so much debt, and which is the reason why they can't maintain the price. But we're saying that you have increased the price before, twice. Those conditions were existing. So why are you suddenly now citing those conditions as reasons to bring it down?
Because the prices were higher.
No.
Because the prices were higher.
No. Well, I'm saying that the prices that they gave 3,625, the season has not ended. The season, please. The season is still in place. The season has not ended. So you are bringing down the price midstream. September, October is about some 8 months or so away from today. But you are taking initiative now. All the cocoa you are going to buy henceforth, apart from the 50,000 or so metric tons that they had already taken a delivery of, that they are paying at the 3,625, everything they are going to buy later this year from any day after now, they are going to be buying at 2,587. That is the problem. And we are saying that it is not to do with the historical matters at COCOBOD, which you have contributed to. Because when we took office, we inherited Cocoa Road's debt from them as well. Okay, but let me come down to the question of Cocoa Roads. What is the value of Cocoa Roads? What is Cocoa Road supposed to do? Is it not to enhance infrastructure? Are we saying that suddenly road construction is not a good idea anymore? That where Cocoa Road, in the sense properly construed, is supposed to enhance, okay, access in cocoa growing areas. So are we saying, is a suggestion to make the point that constructing those roads is a bad idea? When we're spending money to construct roads in Accra, we can't construct roads in cocoa growing areas to enhance, access. If you have been to any cocoa growing area, the roads there are bad. They're bad. So if COCOBOD, per its mandate, is investing to improve road conditions, I don't see anything wrong with it. Now, you can make arguments about the cost of it, but that is not why we are here today.
Okay.
We are here today because, unprecedented in our history, a government chose to cut the prices for cocoa producers. That's a clear short change of the cocoa farmer. No explanation. No, they can bring 10 of Lawyer Martin Kwebu's. It won't help because he's going around trying to emotionally say it is yesterday, Akufo-Addo and all that. That will not wash. It is a backward narrative. It's a backward argument. Yesterday is gone. The government today is His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. By the way, Lawyer Kwebu should be talking about why is it that they can't pay the 6,500 they promised. Don't tell me about the conditions that obtained. They made those promises knowing that the market is not stable, knowing that they don't control the market. So when you come and you're not telling me that, oh, because the prices are falling, you are not being strategic. Because what it is that if the price where it's at now is going to fall any further, is it a suggestion that the government of Ghana will continue to reduce cocoa price, the producer price?
We'll
not continue. But I'm just saying that that's a path you set us on. And then you are trying to tell me that we are collapsing the cocoa sector. So government ought to be strategic. I don't know who was in the room at that emergency cabinet meeting that suggested to President John Dramani Mahama, and he accepted it. And what evidence they gave him to agree that send Dr. Atuforsen out there and let him tell farmers in the face that we are cutting your price by 1,000 cedis and 30. It doesn't make any sense. No government should do that. We sat here in this country recently when the NDC had to support Jamaica, right? NDC was in government when the banking sector, instead of taking a bold decision to restructure it, they were giving liquidity support to the banks. Why are they not bailing them out?
You're bringing other issues.
I'm trying to get... No, wait. No problem, I'm coming.
You're bringing other issues.
Wait, you see, you are talking about yesterday. We are in today. I'm not interested in the yesterday conversation.
You referenced the yesterday.
I'm giving him evidence on why it makes sense for the government to bail out cocoa farmers. If the government can choose to give liquidity support to the banks, okay, who are profit-oriented, they had nothing to do with the direct state objective in terms of the economic interests of Ghana, as COCO does, or COCOBOD represents for the country. In order to save the banks, they were giving liquidity support to them, which they abused anyway. In billions, they gave it to them. So then the cocoa farmer, who has helped and kept Ghana's economy afloat, that one, you look them in the face and say that we are going to cut your price, simply because they see the farmer to be a pushover. They see cocoa farmers to be pushovers. They cannot say anything about it. They can't do anything. Once they come out from their high office in the Jubilee House and say we are cutting it down, they should sit and take it and not say anything. They will send lawyer Martin Kwebu here to rationalize it and say Akufo-Addo, DDEP and all that. That's not the point. The point is that people have made a life decision to go into production, to produce for only you, the state. Nobody can buy cocoa in this country. They produce it for Ghana, and now Ghana is abusing the farmers. I'm coming to abusing cocoa farmers and saying that we'll pay you what price we like. And they are giving flimsy excuses about yesterday's debt, when that had no bearing on the seasoned decision you have made to pay them a certain price, and you have shortchanged them. That's the matter. So you can quote IMF, you can quote God, you can quote everybody. The point remains that you have shortchanged the farmer, and that is the matter. I'm not going to allow us to deviate into all that.
Thank you.
And why?
Thank you.
The question... Now you are feeling it. The question on the board, I'm just summing up. The question on the board, Alfred, is that 2,587 is the price we are giving cocoa farmers, which is a loss of 1,030 Ghana cedis from what they were promised. That is not acceptable. That's not sensitive. That is sensitive. And on the back of it, they sent my brother Ataisa to come and sit here and be telling them about things in IMF and all of that. That's not what they are interested in. They are interested in the price they are going to get per bag. And your government have shortchanged them. And that
the people who died
has not happened before. Look, people are going to die. This cocoa thing, let him just cool down. This thing is going to lead to people dying. If you have been to a rural community before, all they have is some 10 bags of cocoa, and that's what they are going to live on for a whole year. All they have is 5 bags of cocoa they are going to live for a whole year. So people are going to actually die for the decision that you have made. So if you want to talk about yesterday, let's talk about people who are going to die now and find a way to save them. The Catholic Bishop Conference say what? Sustain the price. President Mahama, listen and sustain the price. Whoever deceived you in that cabinet room, that person must go.
Okay. Professor Jampo, he says this is a not too strategic decision because of how this impacts on the fortunes of the cocoa farmer. Could anything else have been done differently? And Mr. Adamado, I'll come to you. I'll come to you in a bit, because the money that has been paid, I want to find out if you have received it and you've started paying farmers, cocoa farmers as yet. These are the LBCs, the intermediaries between COCOBOD and the farmer. Prof.
Well, thank you very much. I think that I'm not an expert in this area, but I've been researching around, trying to understand what's going on. I know it's been a cliche that governance is a continuum. And so when you are appointed, you get into office, you try to take whatever challenges, liabilities on board and try to address them. But it appears that from what I am gathering and from what I'm seeing, even though governance is a continuum, when you get the opportunity to serve in governance, I think the first thing you have to do will be to trumpet the state of affairs of whatever sector you are sent to and let people understand what really is there before you begin to fix. It appears that the current crop of NDC appointees have been overly focused on fixing problems and not reporting the problems before fixing. And I think that it's important that we multitask by trying to let people know the true state of affairs before you begin to address them. In so doing, you are able to elicit the kind of support that you need to help you address the problem. In so doing, you are able to shut up those who may have contributed to the problem so they don't turn around to come and disturb you as you begin to fix the problem. It is very important. I mean, from what I'm seeing, Honorable Apia Kubi has said a lot, and look, he's an MPP statesman. I mean, sometimes we come on this program that we are looking for solutions. It's not important that we cry over spilled milk. I mean, the kinds of things that he's saying, we should be forward-looking in looking at the solutions to the problem. But the point is that whether you like it or not, the challenges of the cocoa sector were not created in last year, just 1 year. Okay, and to be fair, the challenges within the sector predates regimes. They've been there. And so it is important that some drastic steps are taken to address them. And I'm happy that you can see clearly that some interventions have been announced, and which, when in my view, when properly followed, we'll make some giant strides in making the cocoa sector quite vibrant. We are hearing about the fact that the pricing, what is to be paid to cocoa farmers, has been cut, and so it's creating a lot of hula baloo. Look, I keep asking myself, is it that the President of the Republic or his advisors were that insensitive? It's not that they are insensitive. But you see, pure arithmetic at play here. You cannot give what you don't have, even if you made promise about it. And so it is important that my view is, look, it is not pleasant. It is not a good thing when people expect X and then you give them Y and they are not happy. And it is also not pleasant, particularly when you know that those who contributed to the problem would rather now cash in and make it a big deal as if they did not play any role. And it is not pleasant. And so my view is that, look, the idea of participatory governance dictates that you directly engage people who are affected by a certain decision that you take. And so our appeal to government that one solution is that the solution is never about pandering to the recommendations and suggestions by those who don't know how to govern, that go and borrow and top up. No. They borrowed, and used what they have borrowed to engage in certain unthinkable projects like cathedral, overpriced dugouts, and holding COVID-19 levy parties in a manner that led to our country being rated a junk, economy. And so the solution is not about going to borrow, but the solution, in my view, is to reach out to the cocoa farmer. Thankfully, the cocoa farmer today is not uninitiated. The cocoa farmer today is educated. The cocoa farmer today is surrounded by family members who are also highly educated. And so let us reach out to them and then explain the realities to them. And I believe that, look, given the goodwill of the government, given the fact that Ghanaians can see that government now is really resetting, the country. If you go and you explain to them that, look, given what is happening at the world market, there should be a certain austerity. If you demonstrate that even cocoa market, even the COCOBOD, they are also leading by showing a certain example. Now they are cutting salaries, here and there. You demonstrate all these to them. I believe that we'll be able to get the understanding so that once we secure their buy-in, they may understand what government is trying to do, and once they support government in what it is trying to do now to rebuild or to restructure the sector, I think that we can be making giant progress in our quest to ensure that our cocoa sector is actually made vibrant again. And so the point is not to so much sit in the comforts of our offices and try to say that we are fixing things. Let us explain to people what is the true state of affairs. And I'm sure that if we had been frontal in explaining to the cocoa farmer what we went to see there and how the challenges, have been over the years. And so these are some of the things that we want to do. I'm sure that some of them would not have even pandered to the manipulations from those who contributed extensively to the problem. And I mean, it is unfair. It appears that, look, in trying to govern a country, let us appreciate this. The role of the opposition is not always to be cynical. The role of the opposition is not always to suffer and manifest what I call opposition disease. So whatever government is doing, let us find a way of puncturing holes. I'm telling you that Ghanaians are now discerning. Ghanaians are now wise. They know it if the opposition is becoming cynical. They know it if the opposition is trying to just make the government look bad. And they know it if the opposition is becoming responsible. And let me tell you, look, people have made up their mind, and it is important that the opposition try to appreciate the fact that people are now discerning, people are now wise, people are now always looking for things that are done in a very responsible, manner. And so if you show that, and I like what Mr. Martin Kpebu was trying to tell Ahiagba, that look, it is important that you go about some of these things in a manner that attracts people and make people understand what you are trying to do. But if you mobilize people, you buzz people, and then you try to let us at all costs try to make sure that the government is painted black. Look, if we fix the country, okay, and things are so easy, things are so done well for all of us, tomorrow when you have the opportunity to serve in government, it will be easy for you. But if the idea is always let us make sure, but you see, and who said it? You just lost election just about a year ago, and you thinking that it lies in your mouth, okay? It lies in your mouth to come and pontificate on how the rot and how the challenges in the sector that you supervised, the sector that you destroyed. It lies in your mouth to come and pontificate on how to fix that sector. My point is that, you see, you don't run down a sector, you don't run down an economy and still want to assert a certain right in dictating how the problems that you have created would have to be fixed.
Oh, so you don't suggestions on how to be fixed.
It is your responsibility to also bring those people who ran it down to book.
No, I'm not.
Don't just shout you have run it down without evidence.
Chief. I'm not done with what I'm saying. It is your responsibility. Yes. Okay, having explained and exposed what you went to see. I mean, those who are found culpable.
Yes.
Okay, you deal with them, and I'm happy that an announcement has been made. A certain forensic audit will have to be done with the view to bring in those who may have done things, over the last few years, to book. And I am hoping that as things are done, you have some of them saying that if we did it wrong, if we mismanaged it, why have you not sent us to jail? But the point is that there would also be the same people who would say if you initiate a quick intervention, they will say, no, you are please.
I'm not stopping you. I'm just saying it's not true.
Okay, no, so I mean,
which point exactly is not
the point that if we would resist if they are prosecuting people.
No. So the point is that, you see, the point is that you would have some of them coming in to say that, I mean, now you are doing witch hunting and all that. So the point is this. I think there is a consensus on this around this table that a certain culpability when established must be exposed and then
dealt with within the law.
Okay, and when people are being dealt with, let us be careful in offering whatever support to the system as they deal with those who may have run things down, so that we will be building using due process. I mean, this is a democracy. Yeah. So that we'll be building a certain deterrence, so that we are telling everybody that if you get the opportunity to be given the chance to govern or to run affairs or to manage state institution, do it with tomorrow in mind. Yes. Do it knowing that you will not be there in perpetuity. Tomorrow when you are gone, we want to see what you did. And if you did something that was untoward, you are brought to book. Moving forward, I would make the following proposal. As I was coming, in fact, I was discussing with my brother Franklin Kujo that, look, let us be forward-looking in handling some of these things. And then he was talking about the need for us to look at the cocoa sector from the lenses of how the Brazilians have managed their sector. So he's talking about the Brazilian sector. And then these are some of the features that he was talking about, that in the Brazilian sector of managing the cocoa area, what they have is they have direct market access. And here they are saying that farmers or cooperatives sell directly to processors or exporters. This means that when world prices are high, they see that money in their pocket immediately. And then there's also the idea of quality premium. And here it's because it's a competitive market, farmers who produce high quality or fine cocoa can negotiate much higher prices than the standard bulk rate. And then they also talk about risk and reward, where they're saying that while farmers get the highs of the market, they also face the lows without a government cushioning. They often use financial tools like hedging or forward contracts on their own to lock in prices. Then they have also domestic processing. Here, Brazil has a massive internal chocolate industry. Local factories compete with exporters for the beans, which naturally keeps local prices higher to ensure the factories stay supplied. And so it is important that we borrow from some of these, we copy from best practices in managing the cocoa sector, so that we would be able to, the government of the day, President Mahama, who is a legacy hunting president, should go down in history as one president who also ensured that the reset agenda benefited the cocoa sector. But it's important for us to also appreciate this. And Ahiagba would know that, look, if cocoa is the backbone of our economy. And so we will have to do everything possible to ensure that it remain protected, and we don't have to do anything to discourage cocoa farmers. But the point would have to be made. I mean, this one is...
Prof, just a question. How do you protect it? With the situation, how do you protect it? Now you have come to the issue. How do you protect
my point is
forward solutions.
So my point is that, look, Ayangba, you know that we are not holding brief. We are not saying that, look, cocoa farmers should be shortchanged. But you know that 100 cedis in 2022, 100 cedis in 2023, or 100 cedis in 2024 is not the same as 100 cedis today. Okay? True. Because of inflation. I'm not justifying that. No. Oh, no. Richard, please don't quote me out of context. Okay, I'm not justifying that. And so my point is that in terms of real value of money, there may have been a slash down of cocoa monies paid to cocoa farmers. Yeah. But in terms of real income, you see, well, in terms of real income, okay, not much, okay, would have been done against them. But the point I'm making is that, look, the idea of participatory democracy dictates that when you are taking some of these important decisions, okay, and you cannot consult all the time in taking decisions as a government, but decisions that are directly affecting a certain cohort or group of people, if you are taking them, it's important that you dialogue with them. It's important that you sit around a certain table with them. I recall one day during the time that the first year of President Mahama's administration, when labor unions were negotiating about their base pay and all that, he himself stormed the negotiation and then went to talk to them. and that alone was played a certain role. And so I'm saying that gesture. A certain gesture, okay, from the top echelons of authority must reach out to the cocoa farmers. Like, they are Ghanaians. They have seen, okay, if it had happened that they were not seeing what is happening in Ghana, they have seen the extent to which inflation has been reduced. They have seen the cedi dollar rate. They have seen the cost of living coming down. They've seen all the interventions that are being put in place and that are yielding tangible results. Results that can be seen by Ghanaians, including those who are seeing, and they tell you behind the scenes, and then when they get out publicly, they say that no, they are not seeing anything. The cocoa market, the cocoa farmers are seeing it, and so it is important that with this achievement, okay, within the span of 1 year, space of 1 year, you use it as a leverage to reach out to them. That my brothers and sisters, we are not mean. Okay. We are not here to shortchange you. We are not in power to do things that are untoward against you. But these are the realities. Bear with us. Let us go through a certain austerity. And like I said, once again, I want to applaud COCOBOD for the austerity measures they themselves have introduced, you know, just to also lead by example. If you gone were the days where COCOBOD was running at a loss, but CEOs were taking all their benefits, CEOs were taking all their allowances, CEOs were taking everything that they felt belonged to them. But now they are saying that given what is going on, let us also lead by a certain example. Let us think about our salary, and do other things that would ensure that when you go appealing to people to appreciate what has been done, they may also give you their support. So the solution, one key solution, lies in the area of going back to the cocoa farmers to dialogue with them. If you dialogue with them and they understand you, let your detractors and those who actually worsen their plight go on to say that while the cocoa farmers say they understand, they don't understand. And let's see what the judgment of Ghanaians will be.
Thank you.
Mr. Adumado, so, no, you can't say they don't understand that. No, please.
Oh, they are demonstrating. They don't understand it.
Who is instigating?
They are demonstrating.
Mr. Adumado,
can you hear me?
You and I know.
So you are saying that cocoa farmers are...
your microphones are off, by
saying
the way. Gentlemen, look, please. Please. Mr. Adumado, can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Alfred?
I can hear you clearly.
Hear you.
Move the camera to your right side a bit for me, please. Perfect.
Is it better?
It's better. Thank you very much. Now,
you are welcome.
The LBCs are a critical component in all of this. This money's over 1.1 billion, we understand, cedis has been paid. How much of it has hit your account?
Yes. Good morning, panelists, and good morning, listeners. Alfred, thank you. Kindly give me enough time to...
No. I just want you to, if you could answer the question for me, please.
So the 1.1 billion transferred means all has been paid to LBCs. And therefore, LBCs would transfer this money to the field to pay farmers who have not been paid. Now, I also wanted Honorable Atta to have indicated the funds that COCOBOD has received in terms of cocoa sold and what has been used to settle obligated debts that are binded by law, which has also denied LBCs from receiving this money. I'm saying so because we need to be very fair to both COCOBOD and whoever is managing the cocoa sector. You realize that when Honorable Atta was trying to explain the money realized and then the obligation, he should have mentioned in specific figures, real terms, how much money has COCOBOD paid as part of obligatory debt in 2025-26 cocoa season. That if COCOBOD management had been legally defiant, morally defiant, and say that this debt that we need to pay, we would divert it, pay the LBCs, so that we clear LBC debt and we pay farmers. I wanted Honorable Atta to mention that so that we understand the issues. I must say that the line of best fit has been drawn as the economists will say. Now, where we are is that the 500,000 metric tons of cocoa that has been mobilized, and part of it has not been paid, is that we pay with the old price that we lifted the cocoa from the farmers before the price reduction. Now, the price reduction is going to mobilize about 70,000 metric tons. Now, when I say the line of best fit is that if we try to maintain our cocoa price without strategically positioning ourselves, engaging farmers, and come with the right and best structure for our cocoa industry, if we maintain the price, we are going to subsidize economies of our neighbors. Cote d'Ivoire and Togo would have flooded our market with cocoa that has not been produced in Ghana. That is why we sympathize with the farmers. We are talking to the farmers and encouraging COCOBOD that stop all obligatory payments, and any money that you receive, pay to the LBCs, will go and pay the farmers, will settle our debt. As I indicated, the LBC debt is so huge, and therefore LBCs, of course, is part of our business. That is the job we want to do. That is the sacrifice we are making. But now, irrespective of the different commentaries that are happening, I will encourage COCOBOD and Ministry of Finance to anchor the line of best fit that has been secured, meaning we are going to reform our cocoa sector. We are going to reform our cocoa sector. We don't want to be part of the blame game, but COCOBOD is not Ministry of Roads and Highways. COCOBOD cannot do other jobs that
right. If you say that the LBCs, listen to me. Listen, Mr. Adumado, listen. I mean, we are having a conversation, so I am watching my time, okay, and I'm doing this within a particular time. So let's go with that. And you know, if you need the time, I know how I'm managing the time. So let's just please. If you say that the LBC's debt is huge, how much exactly is it?
When you look at the commentary, our debt, if you add all, is almost 8 billion with the banks, and part of it is what we owe cocoa farmers, as has been indicated at 50,000 thereabout plus or minus, or 50,000 plus is what we need to pay the farmers. So what we are proposing and pushing that, irrespective of all the commentaries that has been going on, we want COCOBOD to ensure, as the minister directed, any money you receive, prioritize LBCs. LBCs will pay the farmers, will send this money to the farmers with clear our debt. Kindly note that we are continuously buying cocoa. Those who are by the roadside, you see that our members continue to bring cocoa from the field to COCOBOD takeover centers or COCOBOD warehouses. We have not stopped buying. And therefore, what we are indicating is that, yes, any money we receive, the 1.1 billion has already been transferred to the field. You know that the transfer system from the commercial bank, you go through the rural banks. So talking to some of our members, the proportion that they receive, they have sent it to the field and are settling, are paying farmers. Now, if we look at the projections that COCOBOD indicated, even let's indicate that 3 billion should come in for us to go and settle the farmers. What we are appealing is that stop all obligatory payments, and any money that comes in, we should be directed to the business of buying cocoa, give it to the LBCs, we pay the farmers, we use part to settle our debts. And therefore, our appeal is that we need to anchor the reform announced by the Minister of Finance. And when we anchor that, all these issues that we are confronted with, all the challenges we are confronted with, will be addressed.
Okay. Well, the proposal and appeal from the LBCs is that for COCOBOD, stop all statutory payments and channel all the monies that you have to pay the cocoa farmers.
Yes, I think
clear their debt as well, because what they've done is, from what I understand from Mr. Adumado, they are pre-financing the purchase of
purchases.
cocoa, which is the practice.
Yes.
So now the debt is on their heads.
Yes. So I think that the right phrase should be, we should look for the money wherever possible to pay. But when you call something statutory, delay in payment of statutory obligations to also comes as a cost. So I think we should look at how best we can mobilize funds as urgent as possible to deal with that. But look, I cannot end my statement without responding to a few issues. My brother Richard spoke a lot of nothing in my case, sensationalization.
What do you mean? No,
I'll demonstrate that. For example, he gave you a writer's report and CTFM report that quoted the board chair then,
Akman Osu-Agyemang, yes.
Osu-Agyemang, on the 2016-2017 syndicated loan utilization.
$1.8 billion.
Yes. That money arrived in November 2016. The cocoa season started in August 2016 and ended the following year. A huge chunk of the 1.87 billion was spent in 2017. So when you are saying that, where is the money?
He referenced some $400 million.
No, so I'm saying that that is not even logical. Your syndication comes last quarter within the year. Then you went out to the market to purchase cocoa because the season in 2016-2017 started after August 2016. And I'm saying that the syndicated loan normally comes last quarter of the year. So what time did we use to utilize that huge amount of money when the actual purchases happened in 2017? I thought you were coming to quote us from a reliable source, but you were quoting from a party that just won power and was given sound bites. But this cannot be verified from any source because we have the audited statement of COCOBOD says, and you've been there in power for 8 years, and you saw people mismanage 400 million Ghana cedis and you couldn't do anything about it. Please, let's be serious. The second issue too is that, are we demonstrating that cocoa roast is not important? Nobody has said that. What we are saying is that don't let the expenditure from COCOBOD be a liability on the books of COCOBOD. Government prioritizes cocoa. And Ministry of Finance, in fact, if you look at the Agriculture Transformation for Economic Growth, we are constructing 1,000 kilometers of roads in the cocoa growing areas and underserved communities under the 24-hour economy. So government already prioritizes cocoa roads. The 26 billion Ghana cedis commitments that you did, where are the roads in the cocoa growing communities? Do you see the roads? The 26 billion contracts that was awarded, when you visit the cocoa growing areas, cocoa farmers, we are speaking to you, when they come to your communities, do you see the amount, the roads worth 26 billion Ghana cedis? Number three. Yes, so that is why the forensic audit is important. And Alfred, let's look at this data. In 2024, the world market price of cocoa at a point averaged $10,000 per metric ton.
I said that earlier.
Now, how much was the MPP government paying to the cocoa farmer? $3,100. That represented 32% of the FOB price. Today, cocoa bag is sold at $2,800 and they are paid $2,587. That represents over 90%. You had a lot to pay cocoa farmers. If you were to pay cocoa farmers the usual traditional 70% share of the FOB price, cocoa farmer as of 2024 should have been receiving 7,000 USD. You gave them 3,100, representing 32%. Where is the balance? And today, somebody is receiving peanuts of 2,800 and paying 2,500, 92%, and you are saying that that person is reckless. That is what I don't understand. Now let's look at, let me say this one. I was talking about the African Development Bank loan facility. Yes. Will you believe that part of the utilization, we went and did a drawdown of $350 million to rehabilitate 156,000 hectares. We draw down. I'm sure the LBCs know. We drew down $350 million to rehabilitate 156,000 hectares. We ended up by doing only 4,000. So you spend people's money like this and you turn around to rather be their savior. It is so sad. I don't get it. You plunge the company into 32 billion Ghana cedis liability. The COCOBOD is insolvent. Now you are here saying that they should pay the farmer. Pay from who?
So, but the other question was that it says you know how volatile the world market is.
Thank you.
And yet
I'm coming to respond.
You are going to increase. President, please, gentlemen, please.
Wait, I'm coming to respond to that fallacy again. You are saying that we knew at the time that the world market price was a particular amount, yet we promised them a higher rate.
The volatility of the world market price.
And I'm saying that before I began my statement this morning, I gave you the determinants of the FOB price at the global stage. And I gave you that the farm gate price is a share of the determined FOB. Mm-hmm. And one of the first point determinant that they use is what we call the forecast prices. And when they call something a forecast price, it means that taking into consideration all the assumptions that you make, this is what you expect. And it was averaged at 7,200. At that time, they believed that the world market price will be trading around that figure. Now it has collapsed to 2,800, and yet you still want to say because you made a promise to pay 7,200, you must necessarily find money.
7,200 was relative to the price at the time.
The price at the time. So you don't do that type of calculation.
Okay.
No, let me also correct something. I think Honorable Martin Pebo has said something, lawyer, that on issue of forward sales, the forward sales of about 450,000. I just want to tell him that COCOBOD did not do a lot of spot sales last year. They did a forward sales of 450,000 metric tons, representing 69.2% of the 2025-2026 crop season, at an average of $7,600 between January and August 2025. Okay. Then it proceeds. Only 300 tons of forward sales was done between October and December 2025. Only 300 tons. The new management of COCOBOD undertook the following forward sales of 450 metric tons at that price that I mentioned. Now look at the rollover impact. The rollover contracts within that year was 80,000 metric tons. Which was included in the 25-26 season. This brought the total forward sales to 530,000 metric tons. When you add the 450,000 plus the 80,000, it gives you the total market tons from January to December 2025 to 530,000. Okay. Hence, COCOBOD locked in 82.5% of the 2025-2026 in forward sales. So anybody who tells you that it was pricing decision gone wrong does not avert to his mind to the facts.
Excellent.
Because 82.5% of it was sold at forward. Excellent. The only difficulty we didn't get all the money is because 80,000 metric tons of that quantity was locked at a bad rate of $2,661. That extra, who pays for that one? So to the cocoa farmer, there was a time in this country in 2024, cocoa world market price or the FOB price was $10,000. You were paid only $3,100, representing only 32%. And they used the other 70% on $10 million US dollars to do database of farmers. $10 million to just collect data of cocoa farmers. They used they said a fumigation exercise. $230 million. They did all those things out of the margin of $7,000. Because if you sell something at $10,000, then you give the person $3,100. You have a margin of $6,900 on every bag.
The last point is engagement.
I wanted to learn
engagement.
Yes.
To the cocoa farmers. So before the misinformation first.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Yes. So, hold on, gentlemen. Please. Thank you.
Yes. So I think that there is a current framework being designed on that matter, because even the bill that has come before is almost ready to be presented to Parliament. As part of the prerequisite before laying the bill, the Ministry of Finance, COCOBOD, BOG are expected to engage cocoa farmers and then stakeholders.
Right.
It is not the case that cocoa farmers are not being engaged. We just have a group of people who haven't learned why they lost by 1.7 million votes. You cannot fail this country like this, and all of a sudden you have become intelligent and so good, and you love Ghana. When you did the haircut through the Dachi bond and the other loans that you took, one president borrowed combined effect. In fact, President Akufo-Addo alone borrowed more than 13 other presidents since 1950s. 13 presidents in 8 years. You borrowed this amount of money, restructured and painfully did a haircut on pensioners and other workers of this country, reduced the savings of Ghanaian workers by inflation of 23.8%. You also had an inflation exchange rate of 17 Ghana cedis. Fuel could not be purchased. There was 2.3 million Ghanaians in Ghana, according to the multi-poverty dimension, could not afford 1 square meal. You left this country this hopeless. And all of a sudden today, you love the cocoa farmer. When you were cheating the same cocoa farmer, when you sold at 10,000 and gave the person 3,000.
Okay. Thank you. Now, 26 minutes to the top of the hour. So there are a number of messages I'm going to respond to. In fact, I'll read. I beg your pardon. We're live on 3FM 92.7. Also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. Also on the Voice of London radio in the heart of the City of London, Voice of London television as well. When I get to the messages, some of which you respond to, well, I want us to move on to our next issue. When I read them, because this week, the Chief Justice gave a verdict on the 3 petitions against the special prosecutor, and I'll explain why it's the 3. And then the 7 petitions for the removal of the Electoral Commission chairperson and her deputies. Earlier in the year, in fact, before the end of last year, 2025, we had an update from Fiscal, who is the Minister in charge of Government Communication, that 10 petitions had been received in total for the removal of the EC chair and the 2 deputies and the special prosecutor. 7 against the EC chair and the 2 deputies, 3 against the special prosecutor. Later, we got to know that there had been further petitions submitted. The total, we don't know as yet. But from the determination so far, based on this particular letter, that was, in fact, a statement that was issued by Felix Kwachofoso himself, it gives us a pointer as to the number of petitions that have been determined by the Chief Justice after investigation. It says, following the receipt of 7 petitions. So that is what we know now. 7 petitions from various individuals and groups for the removal of the chairperson of the EC and her deputies, and 3 petitions for the removal of the special prosecutor. President John Mahama, in accordance with Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution and Section 15 of the Office of Special Prosecutor Act 2017, referred same to His Lordship Justice Paul Bafo-Bonny, Chief Justice, on the 25th of November 2025, to determine whether the petitions disclose a prima facie case. By a letter dated 26 January 2026, the Chief Justice informed His Excellency the President that no prima facie case, that is the minimum threshold of wrongdoing, has been established by the petition to warrant any further investigation for the removal of the Electoral Commissioner, Deputy Commissioners, and the Special Prosecutor. So, no basis whatsoever. And we got wind of exactly what could have informed the Chief Justice's decision, because one of the letters written to one of the petitioners was leaked. The Chief Justice says, while the allegations raise, that is the allegations contained in the petitions, raise serious constitutional and administrative questions, they do not, on their face, meet the threshold required for a prima facie determination of stated misbehavior or incompetence, warranting that a committee be set up to inquire into the petition. Also, that the petition largely rests on conclusions of unlawfulness and bad faith without establishing at a preliminary level, that is preliminary, clear facts demonstrating intentional wrongdoing or a manifest inability to perform constitutional functions. And the emphasis is on at the preliminary level. So they didn't even go far. Even if the Commission's actions, this is specific to the Electoral Commission, even if the Commission's actions or inactions are assumed to be erroneous, controversial, or suboptimal, such shortcomings do not automatically translate into stated misbehavior or incompetence within the constitutional sense. Under Article 1463, therefore, there is no basis to activate the constitutional machinery for a full inquiry, and the petitions fail at that preliminary or elementary stage. I'm going to start off with you for good reason. But because when we get, I'll read some messages. So you have
right?
Yeah.
I'm alone.
I'll still give you.
I need to come.
No, I'll give you the response.
Okay, but let me do it before it comes in. Otherwise,
because I've introduced. Gentlemen, hold on. Wait.
You're only talking MPP.
No, wait. I'll give you the time to respond. I want you to hold me to it. Hold me to it. I'll give you. No. I will give you.
Yeah, I'm alone.
Why we are all here?
You are talking as if.
No, gentlemen, hold on.
President Mahama gave you a brief. President Mahama gave you a brief.
I will give you.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So,
gentlemen. Only one talking for the farmer who is short.
The farmer. Yes. Thank you. No. Hold on. Yes, he is a farmer. Thank you.
Let me just finish. It's not even long.
No, hold on.
Briefly,
Please.
it won't take too long. You see, I sent you an article. Okay, yes. I sent you an article. This is about 2016-2017 season. Okay, in that season, cocoa price dropped. Okay, from 3,000 to 2,000. But Akufo-Addo assured cocoa farmers that they were not going to be made to suffer. Okay, the drop. He paid them. What is happening today? What is happening today to I sent the story to you. What is happening today? I'll read it. Because you don't have time. Because I don't have time. So the country pays 7,600 Ghana cedis, okay, so which is about 1,741 per ton to customers, to cocoa farmers, okay. And here is what. So this will not only benefit cocoa farmers, but also involve the people in the cocoa value chain. So where did the price drop from that? Please stop this. So the point we are making is that everything that was said here today is not relevant to the matter. What we are talking about here, we ourselves, let's assume ourselves as doctors, and there's a casualty, somebody who's been injured, who's been injured, is the farmer sitting there. And he is suffering, okay, from 1,030 cedis deducted from what he's going to get per bag. Then Prof. Jampo, Lawyer Kwebu, and my good brother are saying that it is yesterday's matter that is relevant. I'm saying that the farmer is not amused by all the things they are saying here. The farmer has been shortchanged. It has never happened. Akufo-Addo put in the same situation. Kept faith in the farmers. President Mahama must do same. Everything
Thank you very much.
You are saying here, you are not doing President Mahama any favor.
Earlier, you had given an indication that your petition had not been determined as yet. Now let's understand this. Because this letter that referred,
please, I don't need facts.
Gentlemen,
talking about is that
your microphone is off.
Is it true?
Thank you.
What fact do you
your microphone is off. Yes.
No, take
Thank you.
the mic off.
Now, so you've made your point. I think you've made your point.
You killed the farmers already.
You submitted a petition.
Yes,
and you are saying, and this was for the removal of the special prosecutor.
Yes, sir.
And you're saying that petition has not been determined as yet?
No.
It's not part of this?
No, it's not part of this.
Have you been officially told?
No, so you see the letter that leaked and from which you quoted copiously. I don't have a letter. Nobody is giving me a letter.
I see.
Right? And you know that on the record, you see there's a history to it. The revelation that there were 7 petitions against the EC chair and deputies and 3 against Kisi Ejabi was made ending of November. Daily Graphic did an RTR request. So if you Google, you see the Daily Graphic story.
Right.
Then a few days later, my Joy Line on 1st of December also published the same 7 and 3. My petition was submitted 2 weeks later, even if we are using, or let's say, even if we are using 1st December, 11 days later, that's on the 11th of December, that's when I presented my petition. So by then, yes, it couldn't be part. It couldn't be part.
But did this outcome surprise you in any way? I mean, that look, even at the preliminary stage, the Chief Justice says all of this was based on conclusions, and really, if those administrative issues, even so, had happened, it doesn't constitute that threshold of stated misbehavior. And so, on the face of this, there's no basis to activate the constitutional machinery for a full inquiry. So it didn't even cross that elementary stage.
Good. Now, Mr. Okanse, when it comes to these petitions, if I'm not careful, I'll be shooting from the hip. shooting from the hip because, you see, we are all handicapped in the sense that we don't have the petitions. So it's, and you know, in the...
No, Honorable, please, let him in. I'll give you the time to answer, please.
Maybe it will enrich there.
No, don't worry. You will still ask that question because you are just started speaking. So maybe you end to a point. Let him end the statement so that I'll come to you. Please.
Okay. Yeah, so we are handicapped. We are shooting in the dark. We've not seen the petitions. I tried calling one of the petitioners yesterday, but he hasn't responded yet. So let's see. Mr. Havo. Yeah, I think Havo is one of them. No, he's a petitioner under the Justice Derry case. Okay? Justice Derry and others versus Tiger PI, Attorney General. The Supreme Court said after the hearing, the cloak of secrecy vanishes. Yeah, so now we can publish the petitions. So please, the petitioners, bring the petitions forward. Let's analyze. So right now, strictly speaking, it means that we can't have a sensible debate on the matter without the petitions.
Okay.
There's a temptation to hazard a guess, which, sometimes we will take educated guess. So if you agree, the educated guess is that the matter of SAL featured in the petitions. And if the matter, that's Santro Kofi Akpafu Lolobi, right? They didn't get an MP. They did not vote in the 2020 elections for an MP. So they didn't have an MP for 4 years. That matter, if we all accept at the table that as an educated guess, that matter made it into the petition, I'm surprised that the petitions were thrown out. Because the SAL matter is something that at least it should have gone to trial. That one I can say unequivocally. If we agree that as an educated guess, at all costs, the SAL matter made it into the petitions, then I really struggle to see how the petitions can be thrown out. So I can't say, but you see,
but we don't know.
Yes, that's why I said yes. But I'm saying as an educated guess, because that matter has been beaten in the public domain, sir. And then second educated guess, the publication of the 2020 elections results 5 times. It was a comedy of errors. 1 election results, 5 publications. They publish 1, there's an error, then they withdraw, then they correct, republish, number 2, error, withdrawn, then republish, number 3, up to 5. It was a comedy of errors. If that doesn't speak to incompetence, what else can it speak to? Number 3.
The previous point you wanted to make.
Yes.
Yes.
Let me ask you the question. 7 petitions against who? Because you are talking about 3 people. Who are the petitions directed at?
The 7 petitions were against the EC and her 2 deputies, and 3 against the special prosecutor.
Article 146 expects an individual's petition against an individual. So when you say it's against 3 people, who are the specific petitions against?
Right.
We cannot petition against the commission as a group. Or as an institution. It is directed at individuals within that institution.
So he doesn't have that information. But
by interpretation of law.
No, I'm saying that we can proceed without knowing that nitty-gritty, the general idea.
You should know who is responding to which petition and the issues in the petition directed against a single individual, so that the CJ had an opportunity of looking at the petitions against Apiekubi, the petition against Martin Pebu, the petition against, and the issues could be different.
I see.
So for our purpose, I think we can assume
that's why we are talking about.
But you cannot petition against the.
No, I think that point is well made. But all of this comes back to the point you made, that we don't have the benefit of the details of the petition.
Yes.
So that's the limitation. I hope you agree.
So we've put in the caveat that we are doing an educated guess, that these are the matters that we raised against the EC and the deputies, right? Okay. And let's put it in context. Very important. It's good Mr. Ahiagba is here. The MPP has agreed that Jim Mensah must go. She's not fit for office. The NDC
have they agreed?
Yes.
Wait.
Justin Kodria.
Because you are putting
Yes, a personal opinion.
And you haven't reprimanded him.
No,
you haven't Justin Kodria, let's Google it. Justin Kodria.
No, but that point is not even valid. The NDC wanted the hair gone. What didn't they say that? They wanted it gone, so does that mean that they certainly by that they should go? No. It's the law that must work. It's not what somebody says. Yeah, it's the law. So if somebody says that, they're expressing their personal
opinion. So the point I'm making, you see, we are trying to create the context.
Okay. Let lawyer Martin people let him end because
I'm saying that NDC said investors should go long time ago.
Thank you.
That means you should go by their utterance.
Thank you very much. Lawyer Martin people.
The prodigal son. This prodigal son that went
move on, please.
The prodigal son is back to cause trouble again.
Move forward.
Okay, all right. Yes. So we're saying that look, this is a management team that both NDC and NPP agree must go, and we know democracy is crowd wisdom. So you see the context, and that no wonder after the decision, I've received many calls. WhatsApp messages. People are upset from both camps. People are upset. So listen, we have to be careful. We have to be careful. Look, we are citizens. It's crowd wisdom. Democracy is crowd wisdom. The larger majority of public discourses have gone against the EC chair and the deputies. And so if we're saying that SAL, the biometric register we did in 2020 had to queue up in COVID, etc., endangering people's lives, then publishing results 5 times, etc., are not enough for Jimensa and her deputies. Bosman Asari, who said NDC is an existential threat to our democracy, etc., then I don't know what again will qualify. So this particular thing, I'm sure people will represent petitions. People will represent. Because look, one thing is clear to me, that this management team of the EC, the Jimensa and her 2 deputies, cannot be at the helm of affairs come 2028. Look, the more you keep them in office, it's as if the whole of Ghana, we don't have enough talent. Because those people in office, that's our best too. Public office is for the best of our best. So this, telling us that 34 million, Professor Jampo sits here, etc., was Bossman Asari not your colleague? Even he was a year behind you, or your classmate? Mate, right? So what is it that is in Bossman Asari?
So you say the door is not shut?
It's not shut. I'm sure there will be representations of petitions, because the groundswell of anger at the decision, etc., it's clear to me that there will be new petitions presented, and hopefully those should go through. Because one thing is very clear, that Jane Mensah and her deputies cannot be in charge come 2028. We can't. This is Ghana. Ghana, you see.
But it's the law, right?
But what law?
Not wishes. It's law.
By what law?
If the chief justice says
when it comes to,
he's the lawyer. He's the lawyer.
The saving grace is that the chief justice has only less than a year to leave. In December,
how does that impact on the?
Yes, so new petitions, you get different mindsets. Yes, hopefully. Yes, because
so are you saying that hold on? Are you saying that the chief justice is guided by law in arriving at a particular decision? It's not by his own whims and caprices.
That is true. Yes.
Yes, the law, you see, yes, so he is doing the analysis. Yes, it's subject. Yes, exactly.
That's what.
Yes. Yeah, no. You see, the thing is that when we say guided by law, in law.
No.
Exactly.
I want to hear one person.
Look, in law, we have different philosophies. You see those who are positivists, then you see those who belong to the natural law school of thought, then you see the sociological jurisprudence, etc. So you see 2 lawyers seated, and then different minds, the same law, different minds, right? Yes. So we don't help the debate much when we just say it's law. It's a lot of personal idiosyncrasies. Law is guided by a lot of personal idiosyncrasies. Yes, a lot. A law leaves a lot.
But in this instance, how does the Chief Justice's own personal biases or idiosyncrasies influence an outcome like this?
We don't have much. That's why they always say, when you write less, when you speak less, there's no opportunity for anybody.
Because you said
I'm giving general,
think differently.
I'm giving general education.
That the purposive approach.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Different schools of thought, right? So this one is Chief Justice hasn't written much. I'm hoping that there will be a lengthy ruling addressing all the specific points. Because let's always remember, Chief Justice Bafubwani, we support. Bafubwani suffered a lot. You know how Nebuchadnezzar ostracized him, banned him from Jubilee House, etc. He suffered a lot, but thank God eventually he became Chief Justice. But Chief Justice Bafubwani, this one there, we beg you, we want the longer ruling.
All right, no, please, gentlemen, no, please.
Yes.
Counsel, no.
Okay. Okay, yes. So what we are waiting for is that there will be a lengthier ruling. That's my expectation. The one that will address the things point by point so that we can analyze. You see, like the one Akufo-Addo wrote. Say Akufo-Addo's ruling on the prima facie, Lawyer Okujeto came out to say he wrote it, and Akufo-Addo reviewed, approved, and signed.
So you want something of a sort?
Yes.
Detailing.
So, yes, because you see, let's improve the standards. The Supreme Court said as far back as 2004, the Chachuchikata case, that when a decision maker, a judge makes a ruling, just have dismissed this without giving the details of the reasoning, you give room for people to think that decision is biased, the decision is malicious, the decision is thoughtless. And I've been repeating this point. This point is one of my crusades. We have to keep drumming it that this removal Article 146 proceedings will get full rulings. These are serious matters. I also know very well that the Chief Justice, the work is a lot. Chief Justice will empanel judges, administration, sit as a judge, etc. If you read Professor Dateban's book on the Supreme Court's jurisdiction, it even tells you the way Ghana's Supreme Court is inundated, too much work in simple terms. Yes, so you can see that because the Chief Justice has a lot of work, sometimes then there will be the tendency not to write lengthy rulings. But our Ghanaians, as we are now, we've evolved to that stage where it's the lengthy rulings we want to deal with. So today, if you Google, you see Akufo-Addo's long ruling. He gave his reasons, and we also went in there, the ones we agreed with. Excellent. So that's the standard. So it's becoming clear that this Article 146 proceedings, etc., are going to inundate the Chief Justice.
Is it one that you want amended?
Yes, so we have to amend and relieve the Chief Justice of such work. So that the Ethics Commission that Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh is suggested in his constitution, the committee is suggested, maybe we can give that work. Or set up a full commission for the Article 146 proceedings, things, so that they can give us detailed rulings. Because 5, 7 lines, 10 lines is not enough. This Ghana, where, just like the way we have 34 million coaches, that's the way we have 34 million lawyers. 34 million lawyers waiting to read. When they see 10 lines, no, it's not enough.
Something detailed. Thank you.
Excellent.
This is reset gone bad. Reset gone bad. Hearing about Tikwebu saying that essentially what we have here is a setback is interesting. That this cannot be happening in Ghana. We're supposed to you that yesterday we had a better situation. You understand? Let's go back. Mr. President, bring back Justice Gertrude Tokono. This is a setback. By the analysis, it's a setback. Let's proceed in the direction that we're going. It's a setback. I'm saying, but no, we're doing educated guess. Is that not what? Yeah. So I'm saying that by that educated guess, this is a setback. And it's very revealing. Okay? Now, my comment will be in twofold. First of all, this whole release of this no case against EC and special prosecutor, the first leg is that throw this in to muddy the situation against the COCO matters. Quickly, just throw something there. Everybody say, oh yeah, but I didn't find any case, and therefore MPP, whatever. That's what. So its purpose is to stop us from talking about the COCO. Okay, and thanks to you and the good relationship that you are forging ahead with Ghanaians to give them what they want to hear has made us speak about COCO. Because if you look in the space today, your contemporary programs today, they are not discussing COCO. They are discussing this. The objective has been achieved. So this one stamps up to TV3. You understand? So the truth of the matter is that this one is an agenda to put it out there to quench the COCO matter, which is not going to go, because really the COCO matter is a personal everyday issue for the cocoa farmer. So that's not going to go. So the first thing is that it was an obstruction they threw out there, and it didn't work. And the reason it is an obstruction is that lawyer Martin Kpebu is a big guy. He's a big lawyer. A big lawyer. And Chief Justice should know that's lawyer Kpebu's petition. He has not dealt with that one. So why do you hurry up and bring this when you have not finished dealing with all the petitions? So what is likely to happen? He brought out about no case against special prosecutor, no case against EC. So, but then his petition is still outstanding. So what's going to happen to that petition? What will happen to your petition?
We are waiting for it.
You understand?
It will come out.
Yeah. So, but it's clearly not regular to do that, because you receive a certain number of petitions to do a certain amount of determination about two separate issues. You have not finished with all the petitions, but you have released your report.
Oh, just went later. So maybe he wants first in, first out. You see the queue.
But it's the same issue. Okay, so yours will be determined later. So we should wait for the special prosecutor to be removed when yours is considered. Yeah. So the point is that this is done because they wanted to disrupt the issue. But the point I am trying to wonder about is that...
do you make an emphatic...
The point you have made, Prof, you made emphatic statements here when Akufo-Addo was in office, the kinds of things. In fact, I'm not going back. I'm just on the point. What my good professor and lawyer Kpebu.
You said you are going forward.
Yes, I'm going forward. You are here, so
because then I will respond.
Yeah, I'm coming. It's a point. It's a point.
So you reference a statement that was made by your chief scribe.
Yeah.
Does it represent the position of the party about the EC chair and her deputy?
Just put that point on ice. What I'm trying to say is that...
Why are you determining? Wait, hold on.
He's taking me back.
Does it, because in the midst of that, you try to clarify the position.
Yeah, I'll clarify it.
Does it represent the position of the party?
I'll clarify, but I'm just saying that, listening to lawyer Kpebu and Prof. Jampo today, I wonder if they know President Mahama is the one in government. They are still talking about Akufo-Addo. You understand? Okay. They should deal with President Mahama the way they dealt with Akufo-Addo. The integrity matters. And I think on this matter, on this law thing, I think the Kpebu is coming along. But Prof. Jampo, I'm expecting, on this cocoa matter, he was all over the place talking about MPP. No, I'm not going back. I'm just saying. Okay. I'm just saying. He's not talking about MPP as if President Akufo-Addo was
But you see, you have to appreciate the problem, the cause of the problem, and you tell the cause of the problem that it does not lie in your mouth. You don't destroy something. Somebody is fixing
the cause is in opposition.
Listen. The cause is not in office.
But in your mouth,
you don't create the problem, and when somebody is fixing it, you become the one dictating how the person.
We are on this one. We are on this one.
So when I'm saying defecate on yourself, leave the place smelly, and then somebody is wiping your mess, and then you are saying that you are dictating how the person.
You are supposed to wipe it. You say you can wipe it.
Please. And so when it is being wiped, you don't detect.
You campaign for the person who said he will wipe it. Now he has come, he can't wipe it, and you are talking about the person you said could not wipe it. So what does that make the person who has come down?
But you are dictating how he has the white people. And I'm saying that is unfair.
It's okay. No, but you are the one who campaigned for him. He said he can wipe it. He has come, he can't wipe it. Tell him you said you wipe it.
You are dictating how he wipes it.
But you should tell him.
No.
You should tell him.
He's doing it.
But you campaigned for him. So you should tell President Mahama, you messed up by doing what you have done. You can say, why are you talking about MP?
It doesn't lie in your mouth to dictate how the white people
No,
it doesn't lie in your mouth.
In fact, the point is that we could have just talked about cocoa. No. But we'll talk about this. Yeah, we'll talk about this. But I'm just saying that. Just so my good professor gets back on point. What we have before us is a government that is supposed to be delivering for our country. When they are doing it well, let's say. When they are not doing it well, let's say. But let's not be talking yesterday as if Akufo-Addo is saying government. When the campaign you did led to us losing power. So now today we have a government that must deliver for Ghanaians. Okay. That government is not delivering for farmers.
And we are talking to that.
I'm coming to that, right
it has nothing to do with
so if you don't come to the studio and talking as if Akufo-Addo is still in government and forget that the government that is there today is failing. That's the point.
Okay.
He should talk about the failure of the government because it affects all of us. So do that. So the point is that this whole EC matter is much ado about nothing.
No, I asked a specific question.
Yeah.
Your general secretary made a statement.
He didn't speak for the party.
Okay.
It was not a party position to be communicated. He said his bit. You understand? MPP didn't say that we want G-Mensa to go. We didn't say that. You understand? By the way, the NDC in opposition says the G-Mensa would go. In fact, they said she would go. Why is she not gone? Because it's the law. You have to go by process. Mm-hmm. And that process, begins with the Chief Justice. And the Chief Justice says he doesn't see any wrongdoing. Mm-hmm. It's not anybody's place to say that he must go. Somehow, Lawyer Martin Kwebu thinks that they must go. Personalizing the issue and say, what is in Dr. Bosmasari's head that is not in my own professor's head. That's not the point. Prof. Jampo can do a better, splendid job, but the point is that before you remove whoever is there to come and get Prof. Jampo to come and do the job, you must go by law. And unless the law allows for that to be done, you can't force it just because you want it. So Lawyer Martin Kwebu's appeal to emotion to get the Chief Justice to revisit the petitions and do otherwise, for me, is neither here nor there. But we are just watching. The point I want to make, which is confirmed by Chief Justice Bafo-Bode's position on this, the no case finding that is brought to us, is that Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Esaba Tokonu, there was no case against her to begin with.
That's how you see this?
Absolutely. There was no case. But somehow President Mahama, with the interests and the political motive they had coming into office, engineered a removal. Chief Justice Bafo-Bode, based on what? Because when we're campaigning in 2024 and the utterances of the NDC, who, between Chief Justice and EC, who do you think the NDC wanted to remove more?
But if you
understand, they wanted to remove the EC. There was no evidence of them wanting to remove Chief Justice. But they came and saw that the agenda would not materialize if the Chief Justice was there. So they went and fabricated matters, things that were not on the scale to be considered a misconduct.
But if you read the Chief Justice, the letter that was written,
yes. Coming against the good counsel of the Ghana Bar Association, the Commonwealth Lawyers Association, saying that what you are doing is not proper. When you say, they come and tell you, where in Article 146 have they gone wrong? Article 146 is a procedural thing, is a law that provides for a certain action to be taken, right? Mm-hmm. But the motive that you activate is not accounted for in 146. Okay. So their motive, by all means, engineered by the petitions they have come, and by President Mahama, being the man with whom the buck stops, determined that they must go. There's a case. So was it. But that's about what he says. There was no case. So if you bring today, if you take the petition sent to President Mahama for the removal of Chief Justice Tokonu, Justice Bafo-Bode, perhaps by this standard, we say no, there's no case.
I see.
But in any case, we are not too long.
Details of the petition.
I'm saying that. But the political narrative about EC, you see what the lawyer was saying? I'm just saying I don't have to see it, but I know what is perhaps in there based on the NDC narrative.
I see.
You understand? So right now, what we ought to be doing in Ghana is to appeal to President and say, look, it's not too late. We've offended Justice Tokonu. The fabricated petitions and all the flimsy stuff that were manufactured and magnified to mean misconduct.
That's why I said
ought to be reversed.
I asked if you have seen the details of the petition, and you say you haven't seen it.
Which petition?
So on what basis are you saying that?
Which petition?
I'm
talking about the Chief Justice petition. The cases. We had the details of it. She hasn't done. I'm saying that she hasn't done anything that is on the scale of a remover of a misconduct. Based on the standard that must be met. I'm telling you, hold on. Let's not go into that. I'm just telling you that.
Standard is that?
I'm just saying that the high standard that Justice Bafo-Bode has set,
which is
to say that the offense or maybe the claim made against the officer must be egregious enough to constitute a basis for the removal. You understand? So what they brought against Chief Justice Tokonu does not measure up. And that's why the Ghana Bar Association says, so please don't proceed. Even what constitutes misconduct is not properly defined.
All right, so
it's not properly defined in light of Article 296. It's not properly defined.
Here's what I'm bringing.
So right now, what the president ought to do is to say that let's bring back Justice Getutokoro, because in fact he still have case in I think it's a Commonwealth Court or even in our court trying to challenge.
That's your expectation.
Vein removal.
So I'm reading this letter that the presidency wrote to one of the petitioners. A part of it says, and I quote, and this they are referencing the Chief Justice's letter on the 26th of January. While the allegations raise serious constitutional and administrative questions, according to the Chief Justice, they do not, on their face, meet the threshold required for prima facie determination of stated misbehavior or incompetence warranting that the next stage of a committee being set up to inquire into the petition actually even happens. So the petition largely rests, based on the verdict of the Chief Justice, on conclusions of unlawfulness and bad faith without establishing at a preliminary level clear facts demonstrating intentional wrongdoing.
Good.
Would you subscribe to that proposal of this getting further and better particulars as to why this conclusion was reached?
Well, it is important to be informed so you can speak to the issues and the facts and relate it to law. So the details will be necessary. Notwithstanding that, I pointed to you the anomalies as presented to us. I'm not saying because I haven't seen the petitions, but the anomalies as you have related to us because of the ambiguities in the persons being petitioned against and for what reasons. And trust me, if you go through the petitions, you will not see the same wording of the parties petitioning in the petitions. So that is why it is important to look at it and see on which grounds are they petitioning against. But it looks like it is an omnibus thing, petitioning against either the whole institution of EC or some of them together and others on their own. That is the difficulty I have. But if you look at all that under Article 146, it is the Chief Justice that makes the determination. But if you equate it to the case of Madam Justice Tokonu, the deciding body was the Council of State. So you should know that there are two different institutions making a decision by way of advising the president.
Right.
So it cannot be the same. So again, if you look at the constitution of the Council of State, you realize that most of the members are appointees of the government, appointees of the president. And therefore, it cannot be equated to, again, an independent Chief Justice. So let's take the work of Chief Justice as coming from his position as Chief Justice and an independent one as such. Then he is confronted with these petitions to make a determination in advice to the president. And he says that the minimum threshold, and don't forget, it is not proved by the preponderance of probabilities, and again, not by proved by all means that it is fallacious, but it is the minimum standard, prima facie case. The standards are different. Beyond reasonable doubt, is quite different from this one. And he's saying that based on this threshold, even the minimum standard could not be met by the petitions. That is what Chief Justice is saying. And for which reason there is no need at all to proceed further in the process. And this is akin to the submission of no case. The standard is so minimum that if you don't meet those thresholds, and the last words of my Lord Chief Justice, it says intentional. Granted that in the process you can even identify some shortcomings. What Chief Justice is saying that you cannot allude to the intentional conduct of misbehavior. And therefore, if there was some element of misbehavior at all, and you know, in the criminal world, it is actus and mensa. He's saying even though mensa could be, the intention could not be deduced to support the mensa. And therefore, he says that they couldn't pass the elementary test. I'm not privy to the full context of the petitions and all that, but who am I to say that a Chief Justice could not get it right? And indeed, if you look at the submission he's making, is addressing the totality of what he, in his view, constitutes a commission of a crime or commission of a misconduct. And he says that even if you find anything inconsistent with the operational expectations of the law, he doesn't think that these were committed out of intentions to commit crime or commit misconduct. So I have no reason to doubt the competent integrity of the Chief Justice. No. So he has a constitutional mandate to interrogate the petitions and come out with the advice, and he has so done. And I think that we should take it as he has done and move on in life. Martin was talking about a possibility of influx of petitions. Yes, it is possible, but that the determination of one petition does not necessarily stop other people petitioning against the same persons or different persons. As and when there is a petition of quality that comes, the Chief Justice, as under the Constitution, has the obligation to determine it. And when that is determined, he has done his constitutional duty. So I think if the 100 more petitions will follow, and looking at his schedule of work, and Ghanaians will want to take him away from his core function and let him consider petitions, that's for him, he has nothing to do. As and when they come, he will sit and also make his mind, and then advise the president as required by law. So I am not, in fact, this decision is also telling Ghanaians that don't waste too much time when you come with frivolities. Make sure that you have evidence to support the cases we bring to him. And the nature of the game is evidence. So the Chief Justice of all people has taken the time to look at the petitions that come out with a decision. I don't think that we have to belabor the point. Chief Justice has a constitutional mandate to do what he did, and he has given us his opinion. I think he has finished.
Okay, thank you. Prof.
I should have done.
Okay, so thank you. You see, as Martin indicated, for the first time in Ghana's political history, this is the first time that the political elites, or the two main political parties, were ad idem about the call that the EC chair should just be shown exit. This is the first time that they were. Oftentimes, oh, my friend.
Prof.
No, there are things that you've said. I want to respond, but I've decided not to. Please don't. I've decided not to respond, so you allow me to flow. So this is the first time that I'm saying that the political elites have been ad idem in their call that the chairperson of the EC must be shown the exits. This is the first time. And the other point that must be made is that you recall that when the MPP wanted Charlotte Osei ousted, they ensured that she left. NDC people said EC chair should go. MPP people said EC chair should go. They sent it to a CJ that an NDC government appointed. The man has looked at the merits of the case. And of course, I can understand, given that even the political elites were all in agreement that the EC chair should go. I mean, it's fueled, or it still has fueled people's reaction that they don't understand. I mean, if NDC people say you should go and people say you should go, then why is it that? So I'm monitoring feedback from grassroots and all that. People are not happy at all. No, people. It's important. People are not happy at all. But the point, as you have made the point earlier, the determination of this one case does not stop those who think that they are not happy from sending another petition if they want. Okay, the door is not closed if they want. But for me, what is important in this is the fact, I'm thinking about governance and democracy in Ghana, is the fact that judicial independence has been restored. When we talk about judicial independence, we are talking about absence of bias on the part of judges in the discharge of their duties. We are talking about absence of external control and influences, on judges when they are discharging their duties. And then you're also talking about the delivery of judgment by justices of the Superior Court without fear or favor, with all boldness. That's what we call judicial independence. And this has been restored. Okay? Now, you see, gone are the days when people could have a priori knowledge. You say a priori knowledge, see, foreknowledge about the outcome of cases that you could send to court. So people easily say, let's go to court. The slightest provocation, let's go to court. What do you know? Who do you know? Who have you planted in the court? The slightest, let's go to court. And anytime they said, let's go to court, they got the judgment that they were looking for. Now, you know that you cannot just be saying, let's go to court. Whether you appointed a CJ or not, they would look at the merits of the matter to determine it. I mean, there's a Pandai elections and all. I mean, people were like, is it the judges that we know? Is it our courts that are now behaving like this? And I'm saying this is very good for democracy. If you send a matter to courts, okay, the processes must be allowed to operate, and the days of unanimous FC should be buried in the garbage of history. Now, judges are seen as people who, when the facts of the matter are brought before them, they look at the merits and then they give their judgment. And for me, that is very good. It tells me that it appears that look, whether the president of the republic likes it or not, there's nothing that he can do about this particular thing that the Chief Justice has come to say. The only thing that if anybody is not happy will be to petition again. But CJ has given his ruling, has given his advice, it's written, and the president is bound to accept it. And you can judge. People are angry, and some people are saying that, they should have schooled the processes and all that. That is not part of reset. Reset is to go back to how things used to be, and then also possibly to improve upon things. And I'm happy. Okay, even though, like I said, a lot of people think that look at the MPP when they wanted Charlotte Osei to go. They made it a campaign promise. And when they got into power, they ensured that Charlotte Osei was shown the exit. But in this particular instance, my father used to tell me, my father used to tell me, in this particular instance, please, my father used to tell me that police if a police officer does not want to arrest you, it means he doesn't want to arrest you. Okay? If people wanted to manipulate things and all that, they would have succeeded. But we have reset the country such that... No, please. The country has been reset in a manner that now hands off, the presidency, the ruling party. They send matters to court. We are not interested. It is not like previous time where people, top echelons of a party would, at the slightest provocation, will be there, if you like, go to court. And then when they went to court, they go to court, matters that ideally should take months or weeks in tabling. They go to court, and within 1 minute, they get the Supreme Court, the court's justices to sit on it and all that. I mean, these things have weakened our institutions. These things have weakened our judiciary. And I'm happy that though some other people are expressing dissatisfaction, generally, the principle or the idea of judicial independence has been restored. And do you know what it means for democracy, for judicial independence to be restored? Do you know the number of investors that even this, okay, when people are coming to your country to invest, one of the things that they look out for in investing is the level of independence of your courts. But they don't want a situation where they come to your country and then a government just gets into your business and say, I've nationalized it, I've confiscated, and the judges are in bed with the government and then you take over. So the point is they look at the level of independence of the judiciary. True. And that is, so it means the idea of judicial independence is in itself a tool for development, because people will look at it and decide on where to go to invest, in a country. And so for me, it is good. Those who are not happy, the door is not closed, like you said. This determination does not stop anybody who thinks that. I've heard the argument, and you are saying you are not even sure whether it featured in the petition because we have not seen it. But people have raised several whatever, but the point is that they are not stopped. If you are not happy, you can go again. But to the extent that judicial independence has been restored, I think I applaud the process, and I celebrate the Chief Justice for being bold, knowing that this thing that I'm going to say, it may see sometimes judicial. I studied a course in the US called Judicial Politics. Sometimes judges are also mindful of the likely public outcry that may come. It takes it takes a bold judge, a bold Supreme Court judge, or a bold CJ to say that I know whatever I'm going to say may be unpopular or among some people. It may even be unpopular among the ruling party and those who appointed me. But the stability of the state, and for the sake of doing what is right, I will do it, and then save the nation and restore a certain level of respectability and credibility to the judiciary. And I think that I commend him, I applaud him for what he has done. Let's move on as a nation. Like I said, the door is still not closed. If people are not happy, they are free to. They are not stopped from going back to present whatever petition that they have.
Thank you. Since you make the point that your petition is yet to be determined.
Yeah.
Would you be surprised if it takes the same path?
I'm laughing. I'll be extremely surprised.
That your petition will be thrown out by the CJ?
Yes,
it doesn't meet the threshold?
You have to take a cue.
Yeah, no, there's no way I'm taking a cue from this. It will be fight, pa. Hey.
Fight us in how?
It's not the law.
Take a cue.
No. Each case is different.
People must win.
Yeah,
that's why I'm asking.
But at least if you look at my petition,
okay, it should win.
It contains a lot. So no matter what, at least if you should stick, it contains a lot. So to be able to.
So you'll be surprised if the CJ says, look, based on all of it, there's no basis to activate the machine, but it doesn't meet the preliminary or the minimum threshold.
Absolutely,
on the face of it.
Yes, absolutely, because you know that. Look, as I said, in natural fact, let's mention this. As I said, we want to respect the Chief Justice's role. I mean, in doing the prima facie, etc. That's how come we've not published the petition. Otherwise, you know that under Act 959, the Office of Special Prosecutor Act, there is no provision for secrecy. When you read Section 16, which deals with petitions against the removal of the special prosecutor, there is no provision for secrecy like what you have in Article 146, saying that there should be in-camera hearing, etc.
Right.
So my understanding is that, so properly speaking, if my petition had leaked, it would not have offended any law, but at least it's good that for protocol, yes, we make sure that it hasn't leaked, right? Mm-hmm. But after the CJ is done, I'm sure it's no longer even leaking. That one, it means that in any event, there was never any prohibition against publishing it. So in that case, we'll be able to publish, then we'll analyze the things I put in there. They are very serious matters. They are very, very serious matters. It's no child's play.
Which you can prove beyond reasonable doubt?
Absolutely. The standard is not beyond reasonable. That's a criminal trial. Beyond reasonable doubt, we use it for criminal trials. But this one is civil in nature, so it will be on the balance of
once you have in there,
balance of probability. And let's make this point. Yeah, and the prima facie is the first step. That's to say, if the Chief Justice were to find that some of the allegations, there is a bit of merit, there are serious questions, then the Chief Justice will go ahead within 14 days, when it comes to special prosecutor, to set up the committee of 3. And then under Article 146, then they will set up the committee of 5, right? To do the proper trial, like what we had in the Puaman committee hearing, to do the proper trial. Now, so let's note that because it's civil, it doesn't have to be proved beyond reasonable doubt. And also, the key point we want to make is that lawyers, quite a chunk of lawyers, insist that under Article 146, the procedure is supposed to be inquisitorial. So when we say inquisitorial, the committee itself has a responsibility to investigate.
Right.
It is not like the normal court proceedings where, okay, you brought your case, you must prove it. No. Look at 146. There's been jurisprudence to say that the committee shall inquire. It's not the normal court process where everything should hang on your head. If you make some allegations and they look serious, the committee is supposed to investigate, right? And not just say that everything is on the head of the petitioner. That's not correct. I think it's good that we go back to that jurisprudence so that we are guided. But somebody will say that's when it gets to the committee stage. But shouldn't that also influence the work that the Chief Justice does? Shouldn't that influence what the Chief Justice does? That's to say the prima facie. So in doing the prima facie, should we just say that the Chief Justice would look at only what you've brought? So look at Article 146, Clause 7.
Why you round up for me?
Yes, it says that the committee appointed under Article 14, under Clause 6 of this article, shall inquire into the petition and recommend to the President whether the Chief Justice ought to be removed. So that's just one of them. So I'm interested in the word inquiry. Shall inquire. You say it. Then if you go to 1465, it says the committee appointed shall investigate. So you see that it's a committee that investigates. So they didn't say you, the petitioner, when you come, everything is on your head. It's an investigative body. So you remember the World Cup, or at least, or even Ayawasu West Wagon. You see, the Ayawasu West Wagon Commission, you see, Professor Abuchi would come. Oh, Professor Abuchi, our condolences. Professor Abuchi lost his wife. Very tragic.
I mentioned it about a month ago.
Yes, our condolences. Be strong, Prof. Be strong. God knows best, right? So you see Professor Abuchi asking the questions. It was a committee that was investigating the matter.
Thank you.
So the jurisprudence is that if once the petitioner is able to say, look, sir, there was this problem, and I think Jemensa, Bosma Asare, and Tete were responsible, this. They've provided enough for you to now call them to come and you investigate.
Thank you.
So this thing that we are throwing away petitions willy-nilly, no, let's look at it again. Under 146, it's not the normal court. You have brought your matter, everything rises and falls on your head. No, 146 is not a normal court. It's an investigative committee, and the duties on the committee. So the committee to do that investigation. And that's how if you see Commission of Inquiries, you see that the commission has its own lawyer. It's the lawyer who would ask, bring this, bring that. You remember Abuchi?
Thank you very
doing
much.
it excellently. And previously all the other commissions. So I think that because it's
thank you, gentlemen. I'm going to have to go for a quick break.
So that's why I want to see more how the petitions were. So but you haven't seen when you say it was all done.
Thank you very much.
Do you have the report?
Thank you.
Have the ruling?
Gentlemen, we are still live on 3FM 92.7. Thank you very much. Also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on the Voice of London Radio. If you see this outfit, as always, I'm clothed this morning by Kogra Clothing. is the best version of you. Locate them on the Spintex Road, 18 Junction, opposite the Allied Oil Filling Station, ground floor, same building with the Ghana Made store. If you need this outfit and many others you've seen me wear every Saturday morning on Key Point, you can call them on this number, 0244 238 341. 0244 238 341. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. Stay with us. This is Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on the Voice of London radio in the heart of the City of London. Quite a number of your messages this morning. It says, Tafa in Amrahia. Good morning, Alfred. My question this morning is that if Chief Justice saying that the EC bosses who deliberately denied people of SAL representation in Parliament for 4 years haven't committed any crime. I have lots of respect for the Chief Justice, but here he didn't consider the violation of the constitutional right of the people of SAL. Tafa from Amrahia. Thank you very much for this message. Jonathan Asante says, can't you see that Richard Ahiagba doesn't have anything to say on the petitions that you are asking? Okay, this one here says, good morning, Alfred. I totally disagree with the Chief Justice for not finding any wrongdoing with Jane Mensah and her two deputies. Never in Ghana's history has constituents been denied the opportunity to select their representatives. Thank you very much for your message this morning. This one here from, this is Papa Bisu, yes, from Spintex Road. Thank you very much for your message this morning. This one, he also said that Al-Hajj Binoyiri Bushali says, we Ghanaians don't want lies again. May God bless our homeland Ghana and make our nation great and strong, you say. Thank you very much for your message this morning. This one here also says that Ghanaians know COCOBOD issues before today. When someone has to account for his or her stewardship, then we turn the matter into NPP NDC. It says, listening to... Thank you very much for your message this morning. You didn't add the name or where you are sending us. Lawyer Edujita Tamaklo says, good morning to your esteemed panelists. This morning, Richard Ahiagba is under the neck pressing of Martin Pebu. I don't know what this is. It says, Dr. Austin Gammon says, good morning. It is constructively imprudent to continue with bailout arrangements forever. It must come to an end at some point, you say. Thank you very much for your message this morning. This one also here from Simon says, the difference is that when the NPP in opposition and said Charlotte Osei will go, they made sure that she went. The decision of the current government has shown they didn't have interest in Jane Mensah, but expressed concerns about her administrative responsibilities, you say. Thank you, Simon, for your message this morning. This one from Hobson says, Chief Justice 2 is an appointee of the President, you say. That's just that part of your message that came. I think it was truncated at some point. Thank you very much for your message this morning. And quite a number of you as well sending us messages on Facebook and on YouTube as well. Thank you. We take cognizance of all of that. Adolf Mate, thank you very much for your message. It says, when COCOBOD was keeping 60%, the farmer was not negatively affected. You say, it's a question you're asking. Adolf Mate, thank you very much for your message. Well, this week, in fact, this was exactly a week ago. Unfortunately, we had some Ghanaian tomato traders killed by an extremist group in Burkina Faso, or operating in Burkina Faso. We looked at the profile of this extremist group. They are expanding in terms of their scope of attack into the coastal part of the West African sub-region. And that's why it's of big concern. In fact, they recorded one of their biggest attacks in Nigeria sometime last year. And that's why security analysts have raised concerns that Ghana must also take critical look at what the operations of this particular extremist group. And unfortunately, we've had 8 of tomato farmers fall to this. A number of them survived, were brought into the country, and they're receiving care at the 37 military hospital as we speak. We understand there's been some engagement already with the Burkinabe authorities to find out how to address this matter. But I'll start off with you, John Boadi Apia Kubi. because when it comes to matters of such nature and trade, it's a big issue, big concern, is it not? And as we speak, traders of tomatoes in Ghana are saying because of what's happening, it could lead to an increase in the price of tomatoes on the market. Because we actually import millions of the tomatoes we consume in Ghana from Burkina Faso.
Indeed, my concerns on this matter are twofold. One, security, and the next, trade and agriculture. And if I look at the other side of trade and agriculture, I see no reason why we should be importing tomatoes from Burkina Faso in such volumes. My own constituency, Asante Achimnof, we also produce tomatoes. So one of my prime concerns was to make sure that we took out the nomadic cattle farming from my constituency so we could have access to the land to grow our tomatoes. And indeed, for 8 years, we managed to keep that promise. And we allowed also the farmers to grow their tomatoes. You could see that we are even exporting tomatoes from Asante Achimnof, to be precise. And there was a time that the press even came there because we experienced the glut.
Glut, yes. This was just sometime last year, no?
Yes. So for me, trade-wise, I thought it was, well, if we stopped going to Burkina Faso, the people in Asante Achimnof would be the beneficiary or would be also beneficiary.
You say the Burkina tomatoes is
if the Burkina tomato is of special quality. It's only about the species, the particular type.
Variety,
It's the variety. So we bring it here and cultivate it. And we have land in Asante Achimnof, except that in recent times, the nomadic herdsmen, I'm told that they've come back and they're disturbing the farmers. If we're able to control that and give them access to the land and support them with irrigation systems, then we could produce tomatoes so that we won't see the shortages in the market. And indeed, we will also have local incomes also improving. So on one side, in the trade and agriculture side, I think there could be solutions from the government interventions because Ministry of Agriculture should come to our aid and also free the land for them and supply them with inputs. We'll be able to, fill in where the imports from Burkina Faso will not be coming. But on the security side, it is very dangerous for us. In fact, it has been for a long time because for us to travel from Ghana to Burkina Faso and going into Ouagadougou, for example, because I used to go there because of our project, the Ghana-Burkina Railway. I used to go there. So from the border to Ouagadougou, it was a very dangerous stretch, always. So, and in recent times, it's deteriorated. So the security situation needs to be managed better.
Okay.
And I said this because most parts of West Africa is like that. If you even go beyond Burkina Faso into Mali, it is still the same, difficult and dangerous. So I think there must be a West African security system that will control all the security challenges in the West African sub-region.
Thank you.
It's a sub-regional problem. ECOWAS must look at it and come out with solutions.
And here's what I bring in. So it should not be left, it's not a Burkinabe problem. The sub-region must step in. Because in previous instances, we've treated it as an individual country problem, Prof.
I agree with you that ECOWAS must also come in to ensure that this whole issue of extremism is also addressed. But then you keep asking yourself, I think, was it a Flower border?
Yeah.
As part of my work as the chief executive of Ghana Shippers Authority, I was also touring. Shipping is not only on the sea, so on the land, so we're touring the borders. And I was amazed at the volumes of truck moving from Burkina to Ghana with tomatoes. And I tried to compare the weather situation of the two countries. And then I said, but we are better off. We have better weather conditions. Our land is more fertile. And we should be able to be rather exporting tomatoes to Burkina Faso and not vice versa. So where did we go wrong as a people? I think that this should be a lesson. We are an agrarian country. At the time of independence, I think about 70 to 80 people of our people were always, farmers. I don't know the statistics now, but the point is that tomatoes shouldn't be a commodity that will be important, given the value, quality of land that we have in our country. But maybe we may not have paid much attention to agriculture and the need to offer more support to them, to farmers, so that they go into such areas of crop production, including tomato production. And so let the research agenda, given what has happened, also be extended to include the need for us. I mean, the Pualugu Dam, for instance, if it had been constructed, would have provided irrigation for those areas, and then the land would have been more.
Prof, the emphasis on Asante no.
Asante, well, yeah. So let's ensure that we do the needful. We irrigate our farmlands such that people can go into farming, and we rather should be exporting to Burkina Faso and not vice versa to go meet some of these challenges. Our condolence to those who were murdered and those who are injured. Like I said, this is a lesson. Let us begin to rethink whether it is necessary, given what we have, to allow people to be rather importing tomatoes from Burkina Faso. We should be exporting there.
Thank you. Jaiba, quick one on this.
Alfred.
The focus is on Asante.
Yes. So I am saddened by the loss of lives and the endangerment of lives of the Ghanaians who, by and large, were going out there to fish for tomatoes for all of us, our consumption. That's their job. That's what they do for a living, and also contribute to national development. And so we wish the families that have lost their loved ones condolences. I've heard some discussions about the state having to do something to support them. I think that is a conversation in the right direction. We should explore that.
Good statesman.
Yeah.
Good MPP statesman.
Your strategy is working. Is he
good MPP statesman.
The same time.
You don't want to be a statesman. Good MPP statesman.
Always. You have to be a statesman too. So I think that we should wish them well. And the government should find ways to support them, especially those who are on their sick bed or trying to fight for their lives. I wish them well. But ultimately, government must take responsibility. There's a huge opportunity. What we see in front of us is job opportunity.
Opportunity lost.
That is lost to Burkina Faso. And the argument so far points to the fact that we can do even better. And if you just take away any benefit we have in the southern sector, just look at the northern sector. The climate is almost the same as you find in Burkina Faso.
And even better down,
yes,
down south.
And then you have the land. So the government came in, promised heaven, and is delivering hell. They told us they were going to transform Agric. You know about the Agric for Economic Transformation agenda. You know about that. Under that, they launched the Feed Ghana program in 2025. Part of that program, Yeridia, is supposed to engage in the growing and the cultivation of tomatoes, onions, and pepper. So since we are talking about tomatoes, I'm saying that since 2025, when they launched that high promise flagship, actually, initiative, what's become of it? How many tomatoes have we produced? A ton, a handful?
Which month in 2025 did they launch, and how many months have they? I mean,
but tomatoes take 3 months.
Yes, but I'm saying.
I mean, if you are saying that they just launched it on 31st December, let's assume they launch on 31st December, okay, 2025. Okay, we are 2 months into the, and their tomatoes should be getting ready by now. They launch it in 2025. Okay, they launch it in 2025. Now, but Prof, even that cannot even excuse it for them because they promised that to Ghanaians, and they had 4 years. And so in that 4 years, they must implement it. This whole thing about when they launch it cannot work. But the point is that they promised jobs, okay? That is jobs that is being shipped to Burkina Faso. And they've launched an initiative to deal with that. We have not seen anything. The Agric Ministry is one of the things that is going wrong in Ghana. It's failing in Ghana. They strategically
since when they started
since they came to power, they have started the funding Agric from their first budget. Their second budget, they are defunding Agric. I'm saying that so that more Ghanaians don't die in search of tomatoes. Please, Mr. President, you said you're going to invest in Agric for economic transformation. We have not seen it. What we have seen is a non-investment in agriculture that is leading to Ghanaians dying in Burkina Faso. That one must stop. Let's invest in Agric here so that Ghanaians can have tomatoes produced in Ghana and jobs to be created as a result.
Tomorrow when you come, I will sit down for you to play. So let me give 1 second when you come to play. So that more Ghanaians...
Don't leave. You have a right. Accept your right.
So that more Ghanaians don't die in search of tomatoes when you take $12 million that you are going to construct a Palugu dam, use it. Martin, I just wanted to say... Please.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much. Also to you and the Yapiakubi, thank you. Professor Jampo, thank you so much for coming. The Honorable Ataisa had to leave at some point. Truly appreciate his presence, as well as Samuel Adumado. Thank you as well for coming. On behalf of this team, we do appreciate your company. Join us same time next week. The sports team comes up with warm-up plus. Alfredo Kanse, have a good weekend.